at the same time, I just feel like I kind of want like this one day off, at least a week with nothing.
Do you think you'd be able to plan that?
Hmm?
Do you think that like in the future you'd be able to get?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess do you guys have double options in the sermons?
Double options?
Like you can work the day shift and then the night shift.
Oh yeah, I do that sometimes on Saturdays. I like them.
So then if you can do doubles, like you can just do another double and then like less shifts. So then you have that. That's what I do. I work like 2 doubles and 1 solo shift, and then I have 4 days to do
That's a good idea.
stuff like this.
And it's hardly like it's not even that it's like hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, it is because there's always something to be done. You know what I mean, but like it's not like hard, like a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I just feel like it's important to have a day off, or to create time for complete nothingness. Like to where I could like just go to the park and play frisbee golf and then have no cares afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that's, oh my god.
Let's try this thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Antioxidants. Do you say anti or anti?
And
Like antivirus or antivirus?
Oh, well, now you're saying antivirus. That sounds like antivirus. But antioxidants sounds like that.
I know!
Fuck. Why is it different for those two things?
I don't know. I always just like to tell people I was homeschooled.
Dude.
Dude.
That's a good answer.
It's a good out, dude. It's kind of funny. It was
like,
true.
Really, and then people feel bad for you too.
I'm like, yeah. But actually, it's not really due to that. It's just because I don't really know. It's shitty of me to blame my mom.
Yeah, she was trying her best.
She did good for the most part.
Sometimes
It's because I daydreamed the entire time.
Yeah, that's fair. Did she let you smoke weed in class?
Mom. No. Experiment rolling newspapers. Trying to be like grandpa.
Dude, what if you did like grow up in like a hippie house and you were just smoking weed with your parents at like 5? Just like, as long as it doesn't interfere with your studies, Jonathan.
They're like, brownies? It's like a... Mom brings out like makes pancakes for the kids with like a sativa to get them invigorated.
Yeah.
Field trip.
Get them
Very
over.
so. Good boy.
You need nails cut.
I know a family that I'm pretty sure was like that. Out in Oregon, and like all the kids were like super, super rad too. And they had like a really interesting bond with their parents.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine so.
Yeah, for real. Like, think about the conversations they would have had, like, sitting around a fire compared to, like, pent-up religious families sitting around the fire.
I know.
Where certain people think that they haven't figured out.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, like, if you don't know, like, the difference between words and stuff, and blaming it on growing up, it is kind of funny because when I was coming into college and then outside of college, I would like find out these new random facts of like, gosh, this is basic school education. And I was like, I didn't know that. But because like half of my education was all religious or all about the Bible.
Yeah.
So then you have to cut out a lot of other like life courses or something, you know. So there's just like certain things that people wouldn't know. They're like, yeah, this is standard knowledge. I'm like, oh, yeah, we were never taught that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Like,
I learned a lot about the Bible, though.
Me too.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if people ask, I'm like, I know.
I like talking about it too.
Yeah.
You know one thing I had wrong my entire life? So my dad was from the South. And, you know, for like a dresser, I always called it Chester Drawers. Chester Drawers? Like,
Is that
that's
Chester?
the guy's name.
Yeah,
Instead of chest of.
Yeah.
That's the way
really good.
That's the way they said it, Chester Drawers. So that's what I thought it was forever. And I never even questioned it until like mid-teens or something. I said it in front of one of my band members. And then, did you just say Chester drawers? Fuck.
At that point, people think you like made it up on purpose. Like
It's so weird when you're
it's like
separate from
pretty
it.
off.
This thing's fucking good.
Oh yeah, these little the busies.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I like them.
There's these Bud Light colas that taste like RC. It's so good. The seltzers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you know what brand it's by?
Bud Light. I think.
Oh, you said that. Yeah. I'll have to try that. I just normally get a like variety pack of shit,
Yeah.
and there's certain people that I've like talked with that I already know like our drink or like what we normally drink. So like my buddy Tyler, just like always, it's always Rumple Mints with us. And then I just bought a bottle. I'm like, well, let's get it started.
Nice.
But yeah, it gets a good.
Rumplemans. I've been on a Fernet thing lately.
Do you buy it from the liquor store, or is that your like go to at bar?
It's just what I like. Actually, lately it's been Screwball. But yeah, it's because
Screwball is very nice.
that's what Maria always gets. So I just get one with her,
Yeah,
and now I've grown to really like it.
yeah.
It burns.
Isn't it weird how I swear almost every girl I've ever dated, you start drinking their shit. Like
Yeah.
my girlfriend Maggie, she's like vodka. I never drank vodka, but I'm like, I know she likes vodka, gets the vodka, and then you just start drinking vodka all the time.
And you're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then like tequila, that's another big one that I've got into because certain girls drank it, and then I grew to love that one. I'm like, oh yeah.
Tequila's sexy, dude. I love
So
tequila.
good.
How would you rate alcohol?
From like better to best.
Like whiskey being angry, maybe. I don't
Oh.
get angry when I drink though. Maybe
I don't know.
maybe if I'm in a really low spot, I'll be like more irritable. But I'm a happy drinker.
If I'm in a really low spot, I don't really ever hang out with people. And then I probably don't get angry. I don't know. Yeah, I think that, well, some people for tequila is angry too, depending. Like the fighter types,
That's true.
or like the yeller types, you know? Just like,
A lot of people are like, you get a lick of that in me, and
tequila!
it's
Yeah.
not as strong in Mexico though. Have you noticed that? Like the alcohol percentage, it's like 35,
Oh, it's at 40? I didn't know that.
which makes it just like maybe not on all the stuff, but a lot of the tequilas. Like we went to Walmart down there, and they're
Yeah.
all like 35%.
I wonder if you have to go to like the special places. Oh, sorry, bud.
Probably. I almost like the idea of 35% tequila because you can just
Drink more of it.
yeah.
Dude, Russell's one of those situations where he lays on you for a while until like your arm falls asleep. And then when you go to shift, you wake him up and he like jumps off.
I wish Munchie would. How old is he?
8.
Was he always like that? Because Munchie has gotten more cuddly over time.
Yeah, he more and more. Sure.
More and more.
Yeah, it's like first couple of years he hardly ever cuddled.
Dude. I hope it gets to the point where Munchie sits in my lap. She will not sit in my lap, but she
Really?
lays right next to my head when I go to sleep every night.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. And like it's been getting more and more.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's so nice cuddling. Sure. I feel like the older and older I get, the more and more obsessed I am with cats. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But
I think it's great.
we had this
They're so cool.
we had this new roommate. Not new, like my latest roommate, Jazz. She brought a cat in. His name's Momo. And like the first couple weeks, they're just like fighting, and Russell's like hissing at the door. She kept him in her room and stuff, and just like he just wouldn't have it. And then it's just so fun to watch them over time become friends and stuff. And now they're like playing around and
Her and the
chasing
cat?
each other. Yeah.
They never hurt each other, did they?
No, Russell's too much of a pussy. And then Momo's pretty nice. Russell was just like he had never seen like he's never had another animal in the house before, really too much. So he gets like weird till he wears out. And he's like, okay, he's all right.
I want Munchie to have a friend, but I'm worried that she would like hurt it.
Yeah.
Honestly, she gets so she's really aggressive.
Ferocious.
She is. She's a lovey, like cute little sweetheart, but at the same time, I think it's because she was the Munchkin. She was those. What would they call her? The runt of
The runt.
bunch. Yeah.
The runt of the munch.
Mm-hmm.
The runt of the bunch.
The runt, which means she had to fight for everything. Dude, that bike ride gave me like an allergy. Holy cow!
Is it the gum trees on the way up?
I think so.
Are they still blooming?
I think it's the cotton trees actually,
Oh yeah, they're kind of it's all through summer.
or whatever that stuff is. Is that cotton?
Those little white fluffies. Yeah, I mean they call them cotton trees. It's so similar to cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know.
I wonder if they make
originally
cotton
like
out of it.
it grows in a plant or not. To be fair, I don't know if we learned that in the Christian school
I don't know.
because I thought they were like plants,
Me too.
and then but there are the trees that
Yeah, put off the cotton
Yeah.
stuff.
dude the best patio in Boise, or one of them, is Cottonwood Grill right on the river. At least to me, it's like so pretty. But then there's like those days that there's just cotton flying everywhere, and you're like trying to eat your soup. It's like,
Ugh. Yeah, that'd be gnarly.
yeah.
I've never been there. Is it good?
I just remember the patio being really pretty, and then like when I ride my bike by it, it just looks like magical. It's like little fountains and plants and the river.
Nice.
I don't know if I remember the food being good. Yeah, I guess it's like kind of off the beaten path, so I never go there. You know?
Yeah, they always have entertainment there. That'll be kind of fun to sit outside by the river and get free music.
Are you gonna play? Or do you play any of those little food truck festival things? Ever? I don't know if they like
Not
pay. or
really.
anything. I see like some people playing there, but I don't know if that's like a
Are you talking about the one off the river?
yeah. It's like kind of by Payette Brewing.
Someone told me they have like 6 artists a day. Something.
Oh, so it's like you just kind of rotate through some.
It'd be cool.
Yeah. I just wondered if they like if that's like a free gig or people pay them.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to ask.
Your spot's
KJ just told me about that actually.
your spot's that's a super dope place to play. I feel Germans people love going to their music.
People that hang out there like listen and vibe.
Yeah,
Even if they're chatting, they're still like
yeah,
and some people just come just for it.
yeah, for sure.
It's cool.
Every time I've seen an artist there, it seems like pretty packed.
I love it. Well, did you catch Brock's last set?
Mm-mm.
I missed it too. I had to play.
Yeah, I saw his. I think it was his first one, but dude, he's gotten so good.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and then just like some of the videos he puts out, like the Beatsy builds and stuff.
Yeah, and he posts a lot too. He does like,
Dude, that's one of those things that speaking of the feeling of not going into a day and not like not doing enough, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta make like that social media pressure, especially as an artist, to continue to build and to like put out content and build your brand and all that shit is a very like mental pressuring taskmaster, if you will.
yeah.
But it's like, and the people that are consistent with that, I'm like, it's like takes major dedication, I guess.
Dude, yeah. I think I don't know. Sometimes I get discouraged because I guess I feel like it's so loud on the internet. Maybe I just don't want to add to it, and because if I documented daily, I would have enough stuff forever. But the second I start documenting it, I feel like I'm not doing it for the reason.
Yeah.
that I could have meditated on reason.
Right.
I don't know if that's a cop out, or I don't want to just be lazy either, but I
Yeah.
sort of like why I would personally why I want to post a bunch of stuff every day,
Yeah.
because it feels like a race sometimes.
That
I
does.
don't know, like god dang. But there's just different kinds of artists too. Some artists are
Mhm.
pumping shit out, like Che is pumping. Some people just write different kinds of music though.
Yeah.
Some people will take, I don't know. And then even people that take a long time typically on songs sometimes will even have one kind like that. Or there's
Art does
obviously,
the best.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like you're right. Like everyone's a different type of artist, you know. Like that's I feel like that's always been
yeah,
I don't know, it's been like there's certain people that will make art just for themselves. Like I don't even want to show anybody this. It's like what they do in their bedroom alone. They don't ever show anyone. And then there's people like they're like, I want to make this beautiful thing and I want to show it to as many people as possible. And there's probably like all the way in between those two extremes.
yeah. And there's so many different personality types that, excuse me, so I still have bad allergies from.
The con. Fuck man. I hate well, I would hate allergies. I don't have allergies, but every time I am even remotely sneezy for being sick, this sucks.
Yeah,
I don't do this the whole season.
I haven't had them for a while. I don't know why. Must just be the season.
Do you when people get allergies, are you like do you get them in the spring and the fall, or just every month out of the year?
To be honest, I just haven't really gotten them in a long time, so it's kind of weird to be sneezing.
Maybe maybe somebody had already invented some of those little squeeze guns and was squirting while you were
Just like
riding up
sitting
there.
on the side
Like-
of the grain belt, just
Yeah, just squirting like pepper and cayenne and.
or maybe we just need to get
this.
this stuff them with some of that cotton. Do a cotton pepper blend.
Yeah, that might work really well. That would be crazy.
What if we called them Compouse?
Compound.
Oh god.
Oh my god. I just think first off, I've never tried to see if you sprinkle pepper right at an orgasm, if it makes anyone come stronger or not. But
You should try it on yourself.
what if you threw enough to get both of you? So, you know, like your faces are next to each other,
party
you're fucking.
blast.
Yeah, and like that would be like the best simultaneous orgasm.
It's
Like
like
if you both did it.
design it with a loop for the string, so one person can hold the device and the
Yeah.
other person can pull it. And
Yeah.
then it just goes.
And then
It's fucking
and then
the fun.
you just started sneezing and sneezing. Sneezing and coming.
Wow.
Compow is a good name for that, actually.
It is, dude. It's fun. I see like the old TNT kind of logo, but like it's like a cheap explosion.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like.
Or it could be like shiny gold.
What if it was like patriotic colors? You know,
Reloadable. Musket style.
Oh, and yeah, the little balls, the musket balls are just the little things holding all the sneezing materials.
We got a cannon for the extremists, like patriotic, like sits on the edge of the bed.
Yeah. You just have strings that you pull whenever you're ready for it to shoot. Imagine if like humans had strings to pull whenever you wanted to shoot. You're like fucking around with your girlfriend and then she just pulls your string.
Like, I don't know.
You have no control. Jesus.
That'd be terrifying. I don't know. It's kind of nice that you have a little bit of say in the matter sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't know, but other times you don't want to have any say in it.
yeah. Ultimately, as a dude, if that existed on a girl, of course I would just be like pull, 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 pull,
Yeah, the strings would break.
like machine gun effects.
Like
Oh, that would be a bummer.
a full string doll.
Yeah, but like
Candy sounds.
it's way better to make a girl come over and over. You know, so just like pew pew.
Yeah.
Oh, Gatling gun style. If you just turn the big knob.
Oh my god.
I don't know how our fucking conversations sometimes.
I love it.
Oh my god.
It made me sad earlier during breakfast when, like, we were talking about how some people, including even myself, want to sometimes censor just the natural things that humans talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I hate having, like, shackles or
Yeah.
feeling, like, controlled, but I put them on myself even, and
Yeah.
it made me sad to just think that, like, because how you want to be perceived, like, even me, like, in the lounge or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
in music, everyone feels like they need to kind of save face, but
Yeah.
I feel like we should give each other more slack.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up kind of. I'm gonna try this Alum Lager. Sponsored by Kind of Brewing
Ooh.
and Vizzy.
Oh yeah.
Cheers. one of these days I'll know I've made it when one of the alcohol companies reaches out and says we'll give you a bottle to feature on your podcast. Be like, now I'm starting to get free booze. Like you already know you're winning.
Party cast.
Yeah. Oh. The thing that I feel like I'm gonna have to continue to get better at, but is there are like certain things that come up. I'm already pretty good at it. Like I'll talk about things that nobody else will talk about. And I'm like, a lot of people think about these things, they're just embarrassed to talk about those things.
Yeah.
Like for example, natural urges and shit like that. And just like evolutionary biological urges versus, being like secretive or romantic or whatever. So I guess I've got like the ability to like say whatever I want at the bar, which has helped me get used to like just saying like what's ever on my mind and
Yeah.
whatever, like to get either a laugh or also just to be like defend a certain like position that probably a lot more people think about than are willing to share. And then people are just like they just get used to it or not, and then I get used to it or not, so it makes it easier. But it's a hard thing to like work on. Like, ooh, what if my mom heard me say this thing? Like, and I'm like, do I want to live my life not saying the things just because there's a chance my mom might hear me say it?
Yeah. Because on the flip side, how many things do your parents hope that you never hear them say?
Ooh, or think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably easier just to be like real.
Yeah, it's probably what they did their whole lives, hide all the real shit from their kids.
I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so like, weird story. I don't know if this is true, except for this is a memory that I have. And I shared it with my older brother like a year ago.
Yeah.
This is a couple years after my dad died. And for whatever fucking reason, I was just curious. And I was like digging through my dad's sock drawer when I was a kid. I don't know, maybe I was trying to find something for him, honestly, because it wasn't really in my nature to do that kind of stuff, really, but I might could have just been curious. I found like this bag with like 3 or 4 seeds in it. And now that I know what pot seed looks like, cannabis seed, dude, it looks exact like my memory. Like, dude, Dad had like a bag of weed seeds in it, in his sock drawer, but I don't think he smoked, dude. If he did, it was the greatest secret someone ever kept.
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
Mm-mm.
But He actually has like his religious conversion process was like getting rid of it for him. So
Yeah.
I don't think he did, but I asked my older brother about it, and he too was sneaking through his sock drawer at some point. And remember seeing the same bag.
Yeah. But like, so he would have to grow his own weed first with that.
It got me thinking a lot. He spent, I don't know, he was always like working on the lawn and stuff, but.
Could you imagine? He only spent every other day hour outside of work in the garden, but I don't think he was growing anything. That's funny.
Yeah, that's all, man. You know what I could see it being is he could have found them and been like, right? I don't know, something to show his friends or something.
I mean, speaking of that, like, I don't think it's uncommon to not realize. Well, maybe it is because I was like really dumb, but I had no idea my dad was doing the things he was doing, and like he was like apparently smoking, cheating on my mom, and I had no idea. You know, like I just grew up as a typical teenager and I hated my dad, so I guess I just wasn't paying attention. You know.
Yeah.
But I was just like angry at him for like teenager shit and like making me do stuff I didn't want to do and whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess I didn't notice it. So it was only like way later when like it was brought up. And I was like, oh, and then you'd have to like put things back like in play, like rewind into memories. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, he must have hid cigarettes really well. But like my sister was like, "Why do you think he always had a lighter?" And then like every time we would find an empty cigarette thing, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, this guy that was working for me left it in there." Like he was always like, "The guys that were working for me left that," you know. I'm like, oh, that's what I would say if I was trying to hide something. Yeah, oh my God. But I never figured out shit like that. I'm not saying that like they aren't, but it was just wild to like find out these things way later. Like, oh,
dude, you know then what sucks also is if somebody thinks you're lying about something, but there's a perfectly good explanation for it.
Oh.
Like I had 3 shot glasses out on my counter the other morning.
Yeah,
it's because my brother was in town, so my brothers and I taking shots.
Yeah.
But Maria comes over and she's like, "Why are the shot glasses on the counter?"
And she didn't hear your brothers there?
No.
Oh.
She had no idea that they came over.
Oh shit. And she thought you were.
Yeah.
Huh.
Very, very soft.
Yeah.
Very easy. It wasn't nothing, but
there's that feeling. I have that feeling with like if especially when I first start seeing somebody, but I'm like or if I'm seeing multiple people and I start seeing somebody new, I'm like, should I hide the other toothbrush that's there? Or, you know, like there's certain things that like are pretty obvious signs that somebody else is around.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, do I hide that or is this like a really good, easy way to just let her know that there's other people? You know, but
it's weird how we wonder what we should censor.
That's another thing that I struggle with, or that's the thing with like how much conversation do I censor? How much of my actual life do I censor to any other person?
Yeah.
And to me, I think as I've gotten older, I just keep leaning more into don't censor fucking anything. And just like, this is the way I view the world. This is what I think. This is how I feel. And I'm like, why should I not let anyone know it? But then some people do get offended. Right.
Yeah.
Or you make somebody mad, or I guess it's the same as offending someone.
I definitely like the idea of being the person, like the Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, like the one that's aware.
Yeah.
So you know when to say what, but you also are just doing whatever the fuck you want to.
Yeah.
It's badass.
That's actually
be a dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain times, say like, wow, that shirt doesn't look good on you. Like, that's probably not something you say.
Yeah. Exactly. You say nothing. Like Thumper.
Yeah.
Nothing. I speak things out too much sometimes.
Like Thumper?
Yeah.
Dude, your coworker, man, she cracked me up.
What?
Your coworker or your ex coworker, but
Who?
that girl that we were, she was giving you shit about like leaving the dirty table.
Oh my god.
And it was like I was really stoned. So then I'm like, is she just fucking around? And then
Dude, yeah.
I thought she was fucking around, but then I was like, but I'm also really stoned. Yeah, that table isn't dirty. That's the only thing that I had to hold on to. I was like, that table's not dirty.
She just wouldn't like. Most people will break to like
Yeah.
crack a joke.
Like,
about.
I'm just kidding. Or
But she like kept it going, so I like had to like reverse it on her and then pretend to think that she was right
yeah,
or something. Then she's like, "Ha,
yeah.
fuck."
I think there's a certain people's sense of humor that like they think is funny in their head and like no one else does is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
But there's like certain jokes where um like there was this kid I was camping with and we're like looking out like over the water and he's just like, yeah, like Bigfoot's like looks like he's trying to hide over there, but and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, he's like hiding in the shadows, can't see him. I'm just like I could tell he thinks he's funny. He's like trying to like fuck with somebody. And I'm like, oh, it's not. I'm like, bro, guys, I get what you're trying to do, but it's not funny. Like, we all know there's no Bigfoot there.
Oh my
He's like, no,
God.
man. And I'm like, bro, it's not. It feels like he's trying to keep a straight face, like saying it. I'm like, dude, it's.
Yeah, but it's not.
What I'm saying is like later we're just like, dude, these so weird, and I was just thinking like they think they're trying to be funny. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get him with this joke. It's so bad.
You're like, why? But what if they did see Bigfoot? Like, that's how you be perceived if you're like trying to tell people that. But you obviously knew he was
I'm like-
trying to be funny.
I'm like making fun of him later, like in my like behind my cabin, and I just get mauled to shit by Bigfoot.
Oh, or maybe it's even a grizzly bear, but he just, I don't know, thought it was Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
He stayed upstairs in the cabin.
Everyone just else is mauled.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that should be probably what
The plot.
Yeah. Plot twist. And then the grizzly bear takes his costume off, and it's Patrick Swayze.
Oh my god. But he does that in the upper room of the lodge in front of the one who saw him in the first place and takes a compound in his face.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh.
Right as he starts coming. Dude, I can't really wrap my head around what it would actually feel like to start sneezing as you were going. Because, like, I will say, coming feels like you're losing control. You're just like, and your body starts just doing crazy shit. So I can't imagine adding sneezing to that.
I think it would like borderline like force you to calc or something. Like it could be severely damaging. I don't know if I want to experience it.
Yeah.
That sounds.
What if we develop this product, Compal, and after about 1,000 orders, people just start like dying because they have a heart attack? Or like, we made a massive mistake.
No, they put a warning on the side.
Side effects may include shitting yourself. Heart attack.
If you've experienced heart problems before, do not use Compal. I think use all these things with caution, even like Viagra or.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they do say that with like, don't make shit.
Dude, the way sildenafil. What is it? Sildenafil?
Oh, that is.
I don't know. It's like the main. There's sildenafil.
Is it like what's in my egg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever felt that, like in your brain?
I normally put
It's a
Viagra
weird
in my
feeling.
butt. I don't put it like. Oh, you mean like? Just kidding.
I'm like, what? The innocence.
Sorry, so when it's like
You ever
the head
feel?
high?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You've never experienced it? Weird. I can feel like this shift. Like,
Wait, so I've never taken any Viagra without also being on other substances.
so it's hard for you to determine.
I mean, maybe because like I'm already either like high and like I'm either like high on like Molly or cocaine.
Okay, that would, yeah, you probably.
So then I'm already like that euphoria or that like stimulation is already
yeah.
um, flooding the brain waves with a lot of other extrasensory shit.
That makes sense.
So I should try Viagra sober, and then I can.
It feels like a
hard
whole
dick
kind
and,
of thing. It's weird because you're
Oh, because it makes the blood
brain
flow
moves.
go everywhere more, right? Doesn't it? Isn't like the it either increases. I think it like increases your heart rate, so you have more blood flow.
Oh,
And that's why like your dick gets bigger, but you probably also get more blood flow to your brain.
yeah. They were experimenting on it originally for people with conditions,
Yeah.
and most of the patients were getting erections.
Yeah.
Like
And
the
then they
test patients.
repackaged it. Yeah.
That's great. What a miracle!
Dude, and other than mixing it with
How cool is that? We can take boner pills.
yeah. Dude, what if girls could take like cum pills instead of cum pals, so you don't have to like
Cum pills is a. this is
a
a
division
line,
of cum
dude.
pal.
This is the line.
All I'm saying is like if it's pretty easy to get for guys to come for the most part, but it's sometimes harder for them to get boners. Versus it's pretty easy for a girl to get wet, but it's harder for them sometimes to get orgasms. So just like if we get boner pills, if they figure out a way, like side effects to this, we're gonna try to get their hair to grow longer, and the side effects was the girls were all just coming like just over and over.
Yeah. Even a subtle shift.
Do you know how much money you would make on that product if you made that?
Cum pills.
No. Well, it has to be like 80% of the female population would buy it. Like your market is just, your market cap is unlimited.
I wonder what that would. You could invent that, like what it would do to make it work.
Oh, they probably have some side effects like their tits get bigger or something. I don't know.
I think I read that actually that Viagra makes women horny too. I don't know if that's true. But
I can imagine it being so if it like, but see, Viagra technically is not supposed to, or doesn't make all guys horny per se. It just makes the dick big.
yeah,
I'm
maybe for me it manifests how horny I always am.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right?
Just over accentuate.
Yeah.
I do live in a pretty perpetual state of horniness.
Yeah.
That's a thing that I will say that it's funny to talk about to the average person, like especially like an average girl, and they're just like, all guys are not as horny as you. I'm like, most guys are just as horny as me. Most guys will just never like let you know that they're as horny as me. And I mean, I know there are exceptions, but fucking everyone I know, like,
Dude, I agree. Everyone I've ever met in my life.
yeah, And so that's the thing that people in society are like willing to admit all the time. But
That
sometimes
censorship.
it's just yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Because the people that you meet that are, if you're open enough, you'll meet cool people that are just like, sometimes it comes with shit, but for the most part,
Yeah.
they're really cool people.
It's kind of like the characters you would meet at the bar versus the characters you would meet at I don't know the local chess club. Are vastly different. You would never meet some really interesting people if you only hung out at chess clubs.
Yes.
I'm not saying that no one would be interesting, but the ratio of interesting people versus the total populace would be much larger if you hang out at like a dive bar. Like the stories you get, like the weird people, intricate.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. I feel like most people that hang out at dive bars are very comfortable with not censoring themselves. That is a value that I sometimes, I guess, have tried to emulate when you like see like somebody, you're like, dude, he has no shame.
Yeah.
Or like, or even like no problem being like doing something that I'm like, I would never do this in front of people. And they're just like,
They
they're
don't
really
care.
free. And they're just like, yeah, let's do it, yeah.
Hmm.
And you're like, fuck, dude, that's actually dope. And even if everyone in the room's like, what the fuck?
I get, yeah, sometimes those, I don't know, maybe I'm just a shit. But sometimes, have you ever met the people that do that are kind of annoying?
Oh, yeah, there's both.
Yeah. They're like, they're loud because they want to get a reaction out of it.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely that.
Hey, look, Bigfoot.
Yeah, that guy was fucking annoying as fuck.
Hopefully he never listens to this because he'll know exactly what that moment was.
Man, I hope he listens to this. He needs to know he's a weirdo.
Oh, dude.
There's like certain like there's people that are weird, but like but he was being an asshole. Like he was being an asshole to my friend Cinda. He was like saying like mean shit. And then he was just like trying to be like funny.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, can you take a joke? I'm like, no, you're just being a dick. Like, just never really got this how to like be nice and say something somewhat sarcastic without just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like couldn't figure that out, but he was like trying to be funny. I don't know, but those people need to know they're awkward.
How troubling that would be.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not like that. I hope I'm never like that.
Do you know how you know you're not like that? When you have like a ton of like friends. You have a ton of really good friends.
That's true.
People wouldn't hang out with you if you were that like really that bad. You would lose everyone over time. Like
That's
the really bad people always like lose. Like
Isn't it sad
it is
that
sad.
they don't have friends?
But that's like
I can think of people.
yeah, me too. No, like, and then if you think about who they are and how they act, you're like, dude, you chase your friends away. You're not remotely friendly, long term or whatever.
It's sad because there's like this. If there was a graph about it, I'd imagine there's like a decline scale, like a point of decline
Yeah.
to social awareness. That's like drop off ish.
Yeah.
And we've all encountered certain individuals that they'll start to tell like or say really out of place things like
Yeah.
like and then this guy looked at Murray and he's like you're gonna go home and fuck him, aren't you? He was like the guy that was oh my god, and he was I'm sitting right there and I'm like,
was there a build up to that?
No!
Like you guys were talking about cheesecake or
the
something?
guy was kind of hanging out. He didn't have very many friends.
Yeah.
He got a little too drunk because I think he was
Oh no.
probably having social anxiety like everybody else at the table in our own ways. But for him, I don't know. I encountered a lot of people like that because I love people. I'll always invite everybody.
Yeah. But that's it.
Like,
that's
I love
thing.
letting people come hang out. But man, you encounter some people that are like, oh fuck, I got invited to do something. Then
Yeah. Shit. Have you ever had like? I know that I have to think about it, but there is situations. Have you ever had to like really ignore a certain person or actually physically like verbally tell them like you cannot hang around anymore? Like if like with like a friend circle, have you ever had to do that? You know what I mean? Like there's a person that's like, dude, what the fuck?
bro, it's interesting. No, I feel like I have, but if I haven't, I've been approaching that point with this one person.
Yeah.
And like I literally am like ready to just be like, no, I'm having a conversation.
Yeah.
Which I've never. So yeah, no, I've never done that to somebody. Have you?
Yeah. I don't think so.
I've never.
Because
I was just am too nice. And
yeah, I do know that there's. So I was thinking more
I
like
hate that
long
noise.
term, where it's like, I think it happened more in like college settings, and that's where I was trying to think of if we ever had that. But like, when there's a person that is constantly either offensive or being a piece of shit, like in a community, or just making someone uncomfortable, I think that's a big one. Like, if you have like a friends giving, I know Severa did. Okay, so we were he was throwing a Halloween party. It was like huge, and he's like, I had to specifically text people or like call people and be like, "You're not invited," and they'd be like, "What the fuck, man?" And he'd be like, "I can't invite you. Every single time that you've been to my house at a party, you've creeped someone out. You cannot come." And I'm like, "Fuck, dude, that would be a really hard
So
conversation."
you're not only sending out invitations, but you're also sending out
Yeah. But then there was one dude I ran into the party.
Shit, what a pain.
Yeah. But I don't. I'm trying to think if I ever had to do it to that aggressiveness. Because normally you just kind of like, okay, we cannot invite him around anymore.
I have had people like that.
Yeah, but then you kind of just disassociate. You're like, you just don't answer his text or whatever. But then I don't think you
So I said this is real, but
it is, dude. Because some people are just they're not like. I guess you just. To me, it's not like inviting like an annoying person per se. It's the people that are like really like assholes or like social assholes or like social anxious assholes. Like where you're just like, dude, like you might be uncomfortable right now and you don't have a lot of friends, but every time somebody invites you to shit, you'd be a dick to everyone.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't know why those. Like
I try not to let them in my life in the first place, so maybe I'm a little more closed off than you. Like you were saying, like you like to kind of like give anyone a chance. Versus I don't know if I'm as much that way.
I want to be more. Not as much this way.
Dude, it's like I feel like in those
Pacifica.
there's a. Oh, you might do this.
Thank you, kind of.
Unless you have like one of those. And they started making.
I do it with my eyelids, bro.
Dude, can you do it with your butthole?
No. Well, if I clench tight enough. Wait.
Will you let me do yours with my butthole?
Yeah, sure. Just put some lime out.
Dude, what if that's actually a good bet? Like if you could, I would drink it. You're not, but if you don't, you have to drink out of mine. I don't know. Because if that was a trick that you could do, you could get people all the time to just be eating your ass out of that bottle.
You get a lot of free shit.
Yeah.
It would give a lot of free shit. If somebody said that to me in a bar, though, could you imagine? You're hanging out, and some guy's like as you're going to drink. No, that's why they pre-open them at bars now. Yeah, that was becoming a problem probably for a while.
It probably was.
Just take the caps off.
Yeah. Too many guys are trying to open them with their assholes. Dude, I asked this one girl I was seeing 2 years ago, but yeah, I have a bunch more of those if you want. I also feel like I didn't even finish the one I started drinking. John double fisting.
Ooh.
Apparently I forgot to drink this one. So I asked her why the bitchiest of drinks like Angry Orchard and Ace Pear, like the ciders, why are they not twist offs? Because the majority of people that drink them are females, and like you can't twist them off anyway. You need a twister. Like even a male can't twist them off. It's not like a competitive thing. Like what the fuck?
Good point.
And she goes, "No wait, I have this backwards because I feel like, oh yeah, no, I think I have it right. Wow, this story's gonna suck." She goes, so it's you can walk across the party to a guy who can open it for you and introduce yourself. I'm like, oh, I wondered if they actually designed them that way for that reason. Or if she was just saying that I'm stoned. It was a really long story.
No. So basically, I was getting sidetracked imagining different ways to use bottle caps as like social experiments.
Dude, well, and bars are just cutting out all that fun. They're opening for you.
I don't understand it. There's nothing more satisfying than cracking open a can.
Yeah, they should at least allow them to do it right in front of them.
Yeah.
You can't walk with this, but you can open it yourself.
Maybe I'm going to try that at the lounge. I'll be like, here, you deserve to open this. It's been a long week.
Like, dude, that would speak to my soul. I'd be like,
You're goddamn right.
it has been a long week.
Because that feels so good.
It does.
I feel like I'm stealing that from somebody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this thing down.
Dude, what if you have in your pricing bottle beer $4, $5 if you want to open it.
An opening fee.
You know that everyone
Greater value at that point.
just imagine like for $1 more you can open it yourself. Like, well, obviously.
Do you think anybody would?
I think everyone would, but they would just be like, "Why the fuck are you like, why?" It's a rhetorical question. The bar's like, because I do everything to make a little extra money.
It's so funny, dude.
Oh man,
I love it.
that is the thing. Like the same with the can. Opening a can is a really nice feeling.
It's a wonderful feeling. Oh, dude. Okay. Huge rabbit hole. Total twist.
I'm into rabbit holes.
I don't know hardly anything about this shit yet, but dark matter.
Like they found it?
No, it's just like the idea of its existence.
Oh.
Neil was talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about like the nature of the particles of like of dark matter
Mm-hmm.
is that they don't interact with other things. Like they could just like pass right through a person, or they don't interact with any of our molecules.
Yeah, so there's like it could be like through us right now, and we wouldn't know.
It could all be right here, right now, but we wouldn't know. But also the part that fucked me up the most that he said was that the particles don't interact with themselves.
So they're all individual particles.
That yeah, they don't even. Something about them not interacting with each other is very haunting to my poor soul.
Dude,
It seems weird.
what if dark matter is literally devil and light matter, like the entire universe that is particles that interact with each other, is God? And they're like,
Dude, no.
meaning like simultaneously in two separate spectrums.
That's why I said my poor soul, because like with my upbringing, I'm putting these pieces together as I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I don't live that way anymore or believe that, but I still have to check this really quick. I still wonder.
Okay, perfect. I started getting in my head about if I cheers. I started getting in my head about if I had to actually hit start or not, and I was like, oh
shit.
But I didn't. Great. But I had to double check 4 more times. Oh, I hope I never get that anxious about stuff. Anyway,
I do that with locks and stuff like that.
Like checking once is fine, but like doing like a 4 sweep, 1, 2, 3, like
Yeah.
oh no, like that's where that leads.
So I wonder if they discovered the abyss.
Oh, like the movie?
Like no, like the idea or the concept of the abyss.
That's the movie's about, kind of.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
When did that come out?
Early 90s, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe mid 90s. I could be rude. I was a kid when I like my brother and I.
What's it about? Is it about like
They find this kind of like hole that leads into like nothing. I don't remember if it does go somewhere, but it's like, the concept of going into a black hole just is like a time portal or a dimension portal.
but nothing can pass through it, which makes it kind of its own.
Well, like, so when you go into a black hole, like, no one is seen inside a black hole, right? But, like, where do things go? Like, it's, like, kind of just disappears into nothing. But there's, like, an idea that it's... I mean, like, movies are based on it, like, once you go into the black hole. Like, Interstellar, like, they go into the black hole, and then he goes in the past, in a different dimension, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, time and space exists, and, like, some people believe dimensions exist. You can, like, go in other dimensions. I don't know. It seems very logical.
Yeah, because like you don't have a vacuum bag that sucks everything off the floor into nothing.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Oh, but that, sorry to go take that over, but that was kind of like the idea of, I think maybe in the abyss, where they thought that thing went into nothing. Or like
Oh,
the idea of they found a vacuum that goes into nothing. And I think she might have experienced something on the other side. I'm not sure.
oh.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an actual abyss other than like a black hole. It's like the closest thing.
Or what if like the fabric of space is like a hard drive
Yeah.
and the dark matter that's every like all throughout
Yeah.
is because it doesn't interact even with itself or nothing else is just this
Yeah.
abyss.
If
Like,
you're
do you think that you could get cast into dark matter?
if you're if you're dark matter, can you can you move light matter? So if there's dark matter all around us, this like can interact, in between us, but that doesn't interact with each other. Can it physically like move you? Do you think? Like, can it fuck with the I don't know. Do you call it light matter? Now that we know about dark matter.
So if it did, it would probably blow physicists' minds because
Yeah.
it's not supposed to interact with any of our known.
Right.
So like,
But that's the
but
thing that
I don't know.
what's crazy is like physicists and like all this stuff we've learned so much over like what 150, 200 years, like a huge leap. But if like we actually learn more and then all of a sudden everything we know now could, like if we thought that like 2022 could look like 1912 when it comes to science, not 1912, like
Yeah,
112 when it comes to science, like 2122, like the amount of things they learn, and they're like, oh, back in 2022 they used to believe this about particle physics, and then you realize it doesn't work that way at all. And that's very likely.
I completely agree. I feel like it's. I don't know. I don't have a degree in any of this stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube and not enough compared to a lot of people.
I just think a lot about shit when I'm on mushrooms, and those kind of things really throw you thinking about weird shit.
The fabric of this universe, and I'm like, why? We have this duck that laid a bunch of eggs, and dude, I almost cried the other day. Like the eggs all hatched, and like the mom was just like, she just knew,
Yeah.
and then she just like knew, and the chicks were just like. Plus, that's weird to me. Like, so I think about existence and like, okay, yes, it's happening. We don't know why. We can ask. I can ask, like, why the fuck like an egg? The concept's cool, but it's almost kind of like experimental or something. Like someone's like, it's gonna make an egg overnight. If it's fertilized, the eggs will grow.
Yeah.
And like or like
Yeah.
just the way things happen on this planet, it's like so exotic and
Do you,
so extreme that it's mind bending and creepy.
Do you fuck with Rick and Morty?
Fuck. Here and there, yeah.
So that I don't know if it's Rick and Morty or
I just don't watch enough TV. It's not that I don't like it.
No.
I love
Oh, do you know this is something that you would like anyway, but Midnight Gospel?
it. I watch videos on black holes instead. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Midnight Gospel. You told me about that.
Yes.
I think I watched some of it.
So good. But they do these like he just goes to different planets, and then the way they describe different planets, like what you're saying about it makes so much sense. Like on our planet, that the woman grows an egg, and if it's fertilized, then those two things work, and that's how it works. But like, it only makes sense because that's how like animals
That's how
have
it
been doing it since the top. But like, if you make up these other planets, and they're like, oh yeah, so this person like does like pushes a button, and then it drips out, and whatever, and then the new babies are formed. Like you could.
Yeah.
Like the planets can develop different ways of making offspring other than the ways that we do it.
Yeah. But it's also weird. Like, I was thinking about my own sexual desire and my own nature, like the urge.
Think
And
about
it's still in old people. It stays with
Yeah.
you till you're old. There's like a spirit energy.
yeah. Well, old people like I mean, you know, like the idea of the nursing homes, they fuck all the time.
Yeah.
It's like very true. And like, yeah, they're still horny. They're still trying to like,
Yeah.
but you know, here's what's weird is typically, the male and female attraction is sex organs. Like you're basically attracted physically to like the sex organs or the life bringing organs of the body.
Yeah.
So like females penis, males vagina to tits. You know, like that's very natural.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the ass plays into that, but
Because it's bears children.
yeah,
The
hips. Yeah, exactly.
It's really the hips that make
And
the booty, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like
I also think about like most animals that mount from behind, like deer and cows. They don't really have asses per se, but they're the ones like mounting. But that's like where they're like, "Hello, this is where you put it in."
no, I'm trying to think of animals with asses, though, and it's really funny.
Like, a little cartoon.
Like humans are some of the only creatures because maybe because
They say because we stand, yeah.
That's why bears can have butt cheeks. Then,
oh yeah, they can,
dude.
The last time that I was hanging out with the grizzly before I got mauled, I was checking out his butt.
Oh, that scene on The Great Outdoors where they try to shoot the grizzly bear off and it skims its ass. Have you seen that?
Uh-uh.
Hilarious. Sounds like a classic.
I only watch The Great Indoors.
Oh man, sounds like a TV series or something.
It's probably like every sitcom.
Dude, this is like French it on.
No,
Is this a label?
yeah, it has to be labeled.
The Pacifico?
Um,
Oh gosh, dang it! It is. It's really nicely on there.
fuck, man, I swear, like I'm just getting higher and higher, even though we ate the edible and the mushroom earlier. I don't know for the mushroom, but
I did for a minute.
actually now I do. Now that I said it.
Normally, when you talk about it, is when you feel like I've noticed that. Like,
yeah,
you ever noticed
I
that?
actually like. And now that I sit here, I can actually feel it a little bit.
For me, I've been like seeing like tracers, but then I noticed it's like a gnat or something, or like a piece of grass maybe, or whatever it was.
But it is
Looking at those lights and then looking away is kind of cool and painful.
it is interesting that now that I've thought about it, I do feel it. But it's a really nice microdose, at least what I took. Because
Yeah, I
haven't gotten to like any point where one thing I have really wrestled with about taking mushrooms on this podcast is how in my head I'll get. And like when you know that you're recording something and then you're talking, you're like, wait, like I could see myself go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no. Like I'll like overthink something.
Right?
So I'm a little nervous about like going heavier doses, but like microdose has been really nice so far.
Totally.
Feel really good about it.
I literally was just gonna say, the truth will set you free. I don't know what that means.
Well,
but it does. Like, I don't know, that's like going back to the whole like, should I censor things?
dude, it is not.
It's a big tie back.
I hate to give props to the Bible, but they did say that in one of those books, and
It's fucking accurate.
It is. There.
When you're honest about stuff, people can take you or leave you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, that's good. Well, to give the Bible props, or I guess more to Jesus. So it's like, man, I have a pretty jaded sense towards the Bible for the most part. But like when you hear about certain things Jesus said, you're like, that's actually universally true.
It's a legend.
But then there's like things that Jesus said that you're like, but then you realize most of this shit was passed down. So hopefully some of the good things he said was like, it was dictated to each other and they finally wrote it down. It's like most of the Gospels were written, 70 to a couple hundred years later or whatever, based on. But either way, it's like 2 to 3 generations of verbal pass down before they start, like, whoever documented everything. And so, like, I imagine that some of those truths did get taken, but then some of the shit that gets a little wonky is also just word of mouth,
Doesn't it I kind of like the mysticism of how it became, like, if it is lore, or like that fantastic element about it. I don't like it if I'm imagining, like, it bugs me that I guess the Bible has to exist for whatever reason, but it's weird to think that, like, some books didn't make it or whatever.
Yeah.
And because they didn't fit the overall narrative. But then I'm like, then what Jesus was that guy talking about? Like,
Right. And it's also like a
what the
little.
fuck?
You wonder if it's like fate or chance that like there's certain religions that got beat out in these like moments of like really far back. You know, there's certain things that like happened where a certain religion got beat out or a certain branch of religion. Like take like the like when they picked the books, for example, whatever that was, Council of Nicaea. It was just like there had to be. It was a pretty democratic process back then, wasn't it? Like a little bit, like they had like the parliament or whatever. This is in time of like was it Neo Roman history? I don't know. I could be pulling this out of my ass,
Sure.
but it was like in the days of Caesar, they had parliament. They had people that voted on stuff, right? So if they have this massive council, it's called a council, and they're picking books. They're literally a bunch of dudes like voting. Which one should we put in scripture and which one should we not? Like out of this plethora of books. So it's just interesting that if there would have been a few more votes on a certain book, the entire religion could have been changed in the course of history. Like,
Mhm.
it's weird.
It's a yeah.
But that's why I never trust either. I'm like, dude, it's just a bunch of fucked up old guys. It's like trusting our Congress today to do the right thing about picking the religion for the next 20,000 years. That's actually a really good analogy.
What if this was all simulation, though, and like, what if the concept of history and like archaeology and like all these ancient things was just embedded into this looped system,
Yeah.
and we're all the same beings trying to figure the same thing out, and but we're given like the structure to like make sense of what this is. But like, what if there's no such thing as history? Like, none of this stuff ever happened, and all this stuff that we know from the time we were born
Yeah.
is just this looped system
Uh,
that it just keeps expanding on itself within the program
yeah.
to just figure out knowledge.
Right.
Like, because I don't know, it's like asking if there's a tree, would there be any noise kind of a thing, but it's like,
Yeah.
you could look at somebody holding a piece of, they're like, this thing is dated to 2 million years ago.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's, and even if they can prove, like,
could be
no
a
matter how
program.
deep you go into the proving, like, it's programmed to be like, yes,
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to realize.
Yeah,
But it's
not. Dude.
God damn it.
So
So
that's the thing is, dude, there's this, not to talk like too much about Rick and Morty, so I just want to like tell Rick and Morty stuff.
I feel like I want to watch
But they do this episode about how Rick shows that like he's powering his bike. I think it's his bicycle on this battery that he invented, and Morty discovers that the battery is he created an entire universe that like developed over time, and these people discover this certain thing that helps give them energy. So then it's like oil. So like, oh yeah, this makes machines and everything, and like what they don't realize is like 80% of that energy is siphoned back into Rick's bicycle to power it, and
Yeah.
they literally live in a fucking universe. And so like so for some reason it stops, so Rick and Morty have to go into the power plant of his battery, and it's like this universe, and he's considered God there. Like, or they like created like a religion. So he arrives, and I'm gonna give this one away, but like it's so good. So like,
so funny.
so those people, what I was like, the concept, it's like all of those people for like their generations thought like they're like us, and they're like worshiping a god, or they're like doing all these things, but in reality, he's just using you to power his bicycle. So like, the point of your existence is something so stupid. But and so when he well, actually I won't tell the rest of it, but that's like the idea. Like he comes in and like these people, they like are living their own lives doing stuff and like working at the factory, and they have no idea that they're literally just powering God's bicycle, and he's just like, yeah, thanks guys. Or like riding his little bike around or something.
Isn't that the weird thing about thinking? You can conceptualize pretty much anything.
Oh yeah. But the thing is that there's certain times that if you think about the nature of the universe, like if you were to say, like say because our universe is ever expanding, right? And so that's why they say partially like it's kind of like the Big Bang Theory. Like everything started from here and went out, and it keeps going out. That's like a big argument for the Big Bang, right? But like, what if that explosion right there was just somebody clicking on the little like science experiment that they started, right? And that's then that's like the thing that powers their bat. You know, like there's a million ways to explain the universe. Obviously, none of them are provable because we can't go back that far into that thing. But any of them are just as right as the other. Like that concept can't be any like less fathomable than like God. You know, it's like the concept God created the universe. But literally, it could be God created the universe, or the college kid created the universe, or you know, like, but the universe would think it's God, of course, because
that's the college kid one.
Yeah.
But then I've always thought, even when I was in it too, like, well, then where did God come from?
Right, but then you can't even go back that far to then it goes back to like just like in like the never ending story. Like, of course that came from somewhere. Well, we don't know that. We can't even go back to our beginnings, right?
Yeah.
Like as far as the universe, like so the religious argument, or especially like the Protestant argument, is like, well, God created this, and then when you ask where God came from, well, God always was and always is and always will be. Like, well, why couldn't that be the universe? Like, that could be simultaneous, you know? So that's...
Yeah.
Like, so matter or energy or whatever could always have been, could always will be. And then you're like, well, where did that come from? Fuck, find out. Like, you spend your entire life figuring it out.
I love it because I feel like that's who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, like, I just feel like that sounds so stupid, but I just feel like the whole paradox is like, even like the flicker in our heart, like the energy that keeps it going.
Yeah.
It's just been around forever. And maybe that's how we're programmed to believe.
Yeah. Well, it would be weird to be, like, there could be what am I trying to say? There's like there's like this, no, okay. I was going to smoke this. I wonder if I put it somewhere. A little pen.
Grab my backpack here in a second too, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, want to take a potty break and then we'll grab that pen?
Yes.
These are the things that, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I should admit on air, but I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
I feel like it's safe enough to press the boundaries of these kinds of things.
Oh, yeah. But yeah. So, I should keep, like, I do keep extra cigarettes sometimes, and I don't really smoke it. Every once in a while I want one. So I keep, like, a drawer for those kind of things. So I should also keep Zims.
Yeah.
You know, like, stuff that people like. That people
bowl of mixed nuts or pistachios.
I actually have those. No, I mean, not even just for a podcast, just like when people are over, like, dude, do you have that? I have a fucking cigarette. I'm like, as a matter of fact, I do, sir. You know, like, it's always nice to have something.
Dude,
people are like, oh, fuck, I lost my Zins. Like, do you have any more Zins? I'm like, I have a whole stash for you.
Dude, that's what I've been trying to get with wine, like, because I get it at cost now. So it's like a miracle. I can buy, like, an entire case sometimes
Also,
for
I just realized
$60.
you probably should We should sanitize this because I'm a little sick.
Oh,
Just thought. I think I actually brought my things right over here. Wow, we're almost gonna be set up for this next section. Yep. Just so like, I want to share something tonight.
was that cold or
What?
was it just a cold?
Yeah, it's just cold.
Do you think you're on the tail end already?
It's leukemia. Wait, what?
Do you think you're on the tail end of it already?
Yeah, I am. It's like, no,
Honestly, bro, I feel like I've been
that's all clean.
fighting weird stuff here and there, nonstop, just ever since I stopped. I don't know, it's just like social distancing, and then I honestly don't want to go down the topic too much, but I do have this, like, I have like this hippie theory that wearing a mask, I think that's part of the reason I'm having allergies more this year.
Yeah.
It's like, I just like,
Yeah, I mean, there's like something to that.
you weaken yourself just a little bit to things.
Yeah.
But I know my theory's stupid because I've been in service and I'm holding thousands of glasses and stuff, and
I also think that that's good.
so
One of the things I think is like if
anybody takes what I'm saying.
I definitely get more sick probably in working in service than other people do, maybe. But like I only get sick like once or twice a year. I guess it's still only once or twice a year, but I consider myself very healthy. But I'm like, I'm sure that I get sick more than the average person because of being in like the service industry, like some sort of cold.
Yeah.
Like you see so many people all the time. Like you can't.
Yeah, you're
But I guess unless you're like, do you want me to bring that back a little bit?
Oh no, I kind of like it.
Oh.
I
I realized that
kind of like
your
it.
section of the couch has gotten smaller.
Yeah, I realized that there was also something I could put my arm over here that could
Yeah,
give
you're
it
like-
extra comfort,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
And then those are like tickling your ears a little bit. You're like, ah. So for my next podcast I have you on, I'm just going to have someone there just massaging your neck the whole time.
That'd be
Like
wonderful.
just keep going.
A short man.
Dude, what if that was just a thing? Like, if you're on my podcast, you'll get a massage the whole time. You're like, wait, really?
You're onto something, and I know somebody that you could probably have do that.
I mean,
as part of
two
the
people.
service. Yeah.
I'm not going to just like sit here and be jealous of you the whole time. Like,
Oh, you're
Definitely
both
do
gonna
one.
be getting a massage.
yeah.
What if she just kind of takes turns? I imagine it's. My head is immediately in the gutter. No.
Like, well, I guess we're done podcasting.
Oh god.
My mind is always in the
Come down.
Do you think that? Dude, that's actually a thing though. Have you ever been getting massaged and like you get a boner? Like, not even attractive. Like, there's no sexual attractiveness. You just get a boner.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before. Just like, oh, his hands feel really nice. And then, like, also I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like hard. Like,
I think we've
Is this
realized
like
there's
work?
other ways to get stimulated.
yeah, that feels really good. But like, I would normally think of like getting my back rubbed super like stimulating,
Dude.
like sexually, but it just feels good. But then I will still be hard. Oh.
Sometimes like I'll be in the shower and like I'll be like scrubbing myself down or whatever, and then like I'll like get a sensation of like, whoa, that's like the back of my ankle. That shouldn't be erotic. Or, like I'll spray off my foot or something and be like, woo.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's our body, I guess.
yeah. Do you remember? Well,
To me, it's all about the vulnerability. That's hot
your foot is being.
in any situation, right? So it's like the whole body could be used.
Oh yeah.
That
I would love to have my body be used.
that sounds like a lyric. I'm sure it already is.
Probably.
My body.
But you know how like,
Love to have my body be used.
luckily any ideas that we have, like they're already recorded. So that's the beauty of If you come up with a line or like a hit, you know, it's already saved.
This shit has been in the making for a long time. You remember having Talk Boys like from Home Alone,
Yeah.
like recording shit with
Yeah.
your friends or whatever. And,
Yeah. Now, what were you saying?
Sorry,
His body is fuck. God, there was something.
Yeah,
we.
You're like, I would love my body to get used. That's what you said.
Damn it was before that. That is true. There's this thing that happens where if you're a hot girl and you come up being a hot girl and then you're like 24, you get this this thing that happens where most people just view you as physical, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm just so tired of being looked at, or like at some point they hit this thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I'm so tired of being just viewed as sexually or used just for my body or used just for my looks, etc. Like, I feel like we talked about, like, there's the differences between the mental and the physical. So, though I understand that almost as much as I've experienced the exact opposite growing up. And so at some point, you're like, I'm so tired of, like, the people that, like, I don't get wanted by girls other than friendship or intellect or whatever. You're like, I really just want somebody to see me just for my body instead. So that's where I'm like, yeah, if one, I mean, I've pretty much had it at this point, but I remember that feeling of being like, I would, like, when a girl's like, I don't want to be put in a pedestal and told I'm pretty. I'm like, that's all I want. I'm like, because I've had everything but that. And then they want the opposite because they've had everything but. Does that make sense?
I believe so. Yeah, you're saying that you want your body to be
I'm so sorry. I think I said some of that on you, dude.
You're good, dude. That was amazing. I think I know exactly what you're saying. You don't want somebody that wants to be put on a pedestal that's like that you want to be put on their pedestal? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just think
You
it's
want them to like worship or use you for
yeah, you want what they felt their whole life.
Yeah.
Because you've never felt that. Dude, do you remember no, I don't think I ever told you, or I don't think I ever told you this story per se, but for example, when I left religion, I all I knew was God is God is the answer for everything, right?
Yeah.
And all search for happiness outside of God is useless. Because God is the answer. The relationship with God, like, idea, right? So, like, that's all I knew my entire life. And then when there was this point when I was 23 when I was just like, that's not it. Like, I'm not feeling happy. Like, I'm feeling very miserable for years on years. I was severely depressed. And then so I was just hit this point where I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm going to try it in something else. And that's how I feel about the pedestal thing, like, or like the use for your body thing. Like, my entire life, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And I want to experience the opposite of that. And that's how I felt with, like, well, I've been doing all these nice things. So, like, I want to try that thing over there.
Do you think that that's like why they put the prodigal son? Sorry, I keep like you bring up Rick and Morty. I keep bringing up Bible.
Oh no, that's good. Yeah,
but like because then there's always like a back. There's always something to catch you and pull you back. You're like, oh fuck. Well, then I'm gonna be the like. They're like, yeah, but well, guess what? When the guy came back, it was still a party.
Yeah,
he just decided to start partying. Dude.
That wasn't a really good story for
like the other kid was like, fuck.
Yeah. So the lesson of that one was you should go experiment.
Yeah, because if you come home, there's still going to be a party.
Yeah, and if you don't come home, you're probably partying out there.
And the guy who stayed home the whole time never got to party and never had a party thrown for him.
Also,
that sounds really fucked up.
Yeah. Also, I feel like they like kind of strawman the whole argument. So, like, the lesson there is like you shouldn't go out into the world because you're eventually going to find yourself poor and on the street. You need to come home into this like world of our rules and our way of life, right? I guess like That's the lesson they're trying to go for.
Mm-hmm.
And then we love you, we'll accept you back. But like, it's no good out there. You're gonna lose everything. You're here, right?
Yeah.
But they're like they're straw manning an argument where it's just like you don't have to be terrible with money when you leave religion. Like they're stacking all the negatives against him. Like, oh yeah, his life is gonna be such shit because everyone's gonna use him for his money, and then he's gonna be lonely, and then he's coming back. But in reality, you could find friendships, and you could learn how to invest, and you could learn how to build a good life. And
well, plus, like, what is the parable like? Those people learned lessons,
yeah,
right? Like either way, it works out.
yeah.
Man, it's hard to put into words what I'm trying to say.
The
but,
kid
like,
that stayed, he definitely learned a
like-
lesson. He should I should have went party.
yeah, like, oh shit, I feel like I sound. What am I trying to say? They like you're saying, yeah, they like stack it on this person like negatively.
Yeah.
But like, what if the parable is like something that, like, deeper? Like, because I noticed like true deep meanings in that. Like, I feel exhausted when I'm continually just like chasing whatever that is, like
Oh, that is-
entertainment, sex, substance,
Yeah.
over and over and over again, and partying nonstop. Like, then there's this hungering for like an inward comfort that I long for. Where it's like I need my space.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like the parable goes way beyond like what kind of lifestyle someone's going to try to choose, but it's saying like, come home. Like, at the end of the day, like, don't squander yourself too much. Make sure this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
I feel like there's so much of a deeper meaning.
Dude, that's the first time I've ever thought about it that way. Because I've always been taught that parable in that religious setting.
Yeah, for its outcome. They don't
Yeah.
want you to deviate from the church.
Yeah, so they're like, yeah,
They stack it.
and they stack the odds against that guy out there, and then they're like, so they wanted you to come back to the church or like back to
Yeah.
God, religion. That's how I interpret
Super
it.
stacked.
And I don't think I've ever thought about the parable since then until you brought it up. But it's
That's like, ever since I tried like substances that like Christians don't want you to do. Well, at least in my circle.
Yeah.
Maybe they're more open minded now, and mad props to
Yeah.
them. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought that about. Like, I think it's like I spent my whole life trying to like find deep meanings in them, but the
Yeah.
meaning brought like this form of. Sometimes there's moments of peace, but most of it for is like, why is this not working out the way it should be? Why
Yeah.
don't I feel the peace that this? But then I see a deeper perspective now that I've like done the things that it says that you're not supposed to do,
right.
which is so weird.
Dude,
It like has more pundency.
you should. Oh, fuck. There's two things.
I like that word. Sorry.
I painted it.
Oh, yeah.
I did it.
Josh, go.
So if you, okay, so I didn't, so that view of that parable is, I feel like the religious leaders in my day definitely tried to control a narrative, and I think that's what most churches do, right? Like they're controlling the way they view the Bible. They need it to work because that's the way they view the Bible, right? So they can't have people looking at things differently. So I couldn't, they never explained those kind of like any sort of thoughts that Jesus would say that were counterintuitive to like the narrative. They would always be like, well, like that's the devil making you question, some of the teachings of what Jesus actually meant, And, well, what about this? Like, see, that's the devil trying to like get like those. You can't be having those thoughts because we all have it. The devil's trying so hard to pull us from the kingdom. remember like that Southern feel, you know?
Yeah,
It's
bro.
just, like,
And then on the
we're like, okay, so but like, what about when God said this, like, Lord, or like, honey, we don't know, like, I don't know why I
Like,
feel like
yeah,
it's
no, let it
it's
out.
from the South,
let
like,
it take
when
you
it's,
over.
and it's just like I understand that you have these doubts. We all have these doubts, but the devil be working. He doesn't want us to have the kingdom. He doesn't want us to have what our Lord and Savior Jesus has provided. Like we need to follow. You know, like it's so bad. So every time that you had a thought that was out, like, at least this is my upbringing, but like every time it wasn't my upbringing, wasn't Southern. It just
That
feels
was
that way.
wonderful. I love when that stuff happens.
But yeah, every time you had thoughts outside of the narrative, they're just like, you know, well, that's not actually what. Then they'll try to point you in like the general direction of how they think, and then if you still have a question that stumps them, or like, listen, look, we all have these doubts and we all have these questions, but God's ways are higher than ours, and a lot of times these doubts are placed by the devil. He's trying to get a hold of you.
You're like the other Southern mom now. like,
It's like, yeah. But yeah, so they would just have this narrative, and you couldn't think outside of it.
yeah.
It's very strange.
But like it leaves no room for faith in the first place.
Mm-mm.
Like, what if all these parables were to just give us a way back home? Like, and they weren't like lashes and like warnings and blocks. Like,
Yeah.
but he's like just. It's like he was kind of honestly like de-religiousized it, and he's like, yeah, if you drink, you'll get drunk. Like,
Yeah.
that's gonna make you feel like shit after a while.
Yeah.
Ooh. But like, my thing is like, especially because I left it too, and it's
Yeah.
been years, but it's like it's rooted, so there's always going to be a world. Like I've realized now that it's probably something that I'll see the world through these old like structures
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
For most of my life, but I appreciate it now. Like I feel like it just helps.
Yeah.
But God, what was I saying? Tie back with us. The parables. Oh,
Yeah.
like my whole thing kind of ever since leaving has been like just trying to hold on to. If there's any truth to it, then I was in the flock. I was a sheep.
Yeah.
Now, if there's any truth to like, I even saw pictures as a child in my kid's Bible of like, if he is a good shepherd, right? Like,
Yeah.
and Christians refer to Jesus as a living king still.
Yeah.
So it's a spiritual thing they're talking about. Then if
Right.
I am like gonna go be the prodigal son and chase the things of the world, like delighting in sex and drugs and experimenting, but most of that stuff is just for the pursuit of life, anyways. It's not like I'm trying to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But if that's the truth, then like the story goes that he'll leave the 99 behind and he'll come after the one,
Right.
and put a staff around the neck of it and be like, "Come on back."
Yeah.
So, like, how worried are you guys if you really believe
Yeah.
that, like, he cares about you that much?
Mm-hmm.
Then even if you fuck up, like,
Yeah.
so maybe stop feeling so bad about being a curious
Yeah. That's a good point.
creature.
I'd never thought about the
What if- yeah.
story.
It's weird how I'm dismantling all of these things right now to be like, they're actually meant to help.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
so like when
It's the weed.
there's also the two schools of thought that. So I have my parents. I think for the most, I actually think my mom and dad are split on this, but there's two. Basically, there's the idea that once saved, always saved. Well, the idea of you lose it, your salvation. Are you familiar? Like,
Yes.
in your-
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in all religions, but it's definitely in
I
my.
haven't thought about that concept in a while.
It's-
So
But so this is like how people view me is like you were talking about, like if this is how if you think that your God is going to come get me, then why are you worried, right? And that's how I think some of my family members feel, where they're like, well, he used to be a Christian, so like he'll still go to heaven, it's fine, let him do his own thing if they truly believe. But I think that other people are like, no, you're going to hell, like as though like you've rejected him.
I think that's the frame of mind I must have ended up with. So I'm like, well, I guess that's sorry.
No, but then, yeah, but and then my dad would say, he's like, well, you never believe. I think it's my dad who feels that way. He's like, you never believed in the first place. Like, so.
Dude, I've had people tell me that,
Yeah.
and it really, It's Sears. It's the sore spot.
Oh, it's a
I'm
sore
like,
spot for
oh,
me too.
Fuck you, bro.
Dude.
Like, don't go there.
That's not
I
good.
did believe. I still do.
How much
I feel like
mine's
I
in
actually,
seconds,
it's
which
weird,
is-
but yeah, I feel like I still believe more in a weird way.
Dude, so
Oh wow, let there be light.
I'm switching these out because these batteries always die, and I haven't really ever switched them out before. But else the video just gets like darker and darker.
Dude, are those colored too, or just?
Yeah, these ones are colored. These ones
I found a link for some of these things on Amazon that I bought for
They're only like $400 or something. Maybe.
400.
I think
Those
so.
are nice.
They're also really good for. I mean, I bought them for the colors actually.
I
but
found
then
these-
I've just been using them to supplement like the light in here. These ones are pretty cheap too.
I found some USB charger ones. They're little mini guys, but they're kind of cool for like the go, and they're like magnet. They have like magnets on the side. That'd be like
Oh,
cool
yeah.
to like stick up as like accent pieces, just like they
Oh,
cast,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
really all the colors on the wheel or whatever. You can scroll through. I love stuff. What were you saying?
So I remember this time. Wait, I did. We're pissed off about when people like when they're like, oh, well then you never believed in the first place. And I'm like, dude, bro, you have no idea like the amount of like art, like just prayers and like sob stories to God and like just asking him like for forgiveness over things and like the amount of turmoil and talking and all this shit that I went through mentally for as long as I remember, like 5 to 23.
Yeah.
And then like when somebody's just like, you never even really believed. I'm like, you motherfucker. Oh, you motherfucker.
Seriously. Oh man. Luckily that's few and far between. This it burdens me because it's not like it doesn't have anything for me personally, it doesn't have anything to do with leaving or deviating some kind of pursuit of truth or being like, well, I give up on it all and just walk it. Like I don't know, like sometimes I struggle with the idea that some people get stuck and stop seeking.
Well, so the thing is that people can't. Yeah, if you've kind of come to all of your conclusions, like how many like pastors like change their philosophy? I mean, I guess that does happen, but most of the pastors that change their philosophy is always because of culture. Like they follow culture, not the opposite.
Yeah.
But other than oh my god, that's actually really weird. But what I'm saying is that once they get locked in and then they stop seeking, and then they have to fit everything else to their worldview. So when someone like says to me, they're like, "Well, it's impossible for you to see my world the way that I do and then leave because he can't fathom it because he would never just like see any new information and change." So then he has to like put you in a box. He's like, "Well, then obviously you were faking it the whole time." It's the only other explanation. And so they have these like they write your world into their like worldview.
Yeah.
I feel. But the only times that fucking pastors change is after the culture has already changed. And they almost always follow suit. And that's very trippy. Like the new church is like, oh well, women have been able to have jobs for a while, we should probably let women in leadership. Those ones, like, they still always follow culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, no, gay is a sin. And then it's only newer churches like, oh, now that we've accepted homosexuality as a culture, like, oh yeah, we should probably love homosexuals, you know? And then they like start,
Yeah.
but they like follow, like culture already starts to figure it out. And they're like, oh fuck, like we don't want to be on the wrong side of history here.
They want to
So-
find the truth of anything, look at where the money's at.
yeah.
And
That's-
they want the tithe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just think it's like really about dollars.
Have you watched the
Bring your
song
eyes.
expose?
Uh-uh.
It's fucked. So I went there, but it's all about that. It's like how the church figures out how to make dollars, and like when you like see like, I already saw it like watching it, but and I've been like pretty leery of like mega churches and just like how the church or like the bigger church, you think of mega churches when you say Christian, but in reality, the Catholic Church is it's like these conglomerate of churches, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's one or it's a big empire.
Even the empire downtown, that huge structure that dollars come from.
Yeah.
I think it's religious structures.
Oh yeah.
At the root.
But
in their own way.
Watch that. You have to watch that shit.
What is it again?
It's on Hillsong Church.
It's like a counter documentary somebody made.
Yeah, it's not painting them in any favorable light. But it talks about because it talks about the New York guy Carl Lenz. There's like a big scandal with him having an affair with his wife, and he was like cult leader status in New York. And he's like hanging out with Justin Bieber, and he's like a celebrity. So people would just go to see him. It's like very but their whole idea was just we need to bring in everyone, bring in all the people. The more people, the more money. It's just we need to keep expanding. Bring pretty smart. It's just a business, but it's this religious business. But the Catholic Church has been doing that for fucking thousands of years. Yeah.
What always bothered me on a emotional, just a deep level, not really an anger level, but just it hurt my mind to imagine all the different denominations of just one belief system, splattered about a neighborhood mile radius.
Right.
And I know that we live in a country with freedom to believe what you want and stuff, and I think that that's badass. I'm not saying anything like that, but on a philosophical level, from being within, wondering why it's so broken.
Yeah.
If everyone believes fundamentally in this idea of redemption or whatever, how could it be so disjointed? But then that's when I started discovering the humanism within myself, picking out different sects.
Yeah.
I would go try out churches for a while, and then the reason I didn't go to the church, I was using my cell phone, was experimenting instead of just looking at others. I was finding it within. Somebody's oh, we need to get you plugged in. Why don't you check this one out? Well, I don't agree with that shit. Or this is weird, so it's not really my vibe.
Right.
And I'm well, that's why these denominations exist. So they're more vibe clubs where you're not really going to get taught, you're just hanging out with
people that meet your little
put me in the most uncomfortable service, maybe I'll walk away with a lesson.
Yeah, no,
right, dude? So then I'm fuck, this is all just I think this is a big trap right now for me.
Yeah, that's dude, I actually went to I'm trying to think so you got an orchard and Overland. There's this little strip mall, and they have this a Buddha center or Buddha church or Buddhist church, which I felt very over the last couple of years. It felt very inclined into a lot of Buddhist teachings, right? So I still do.
Yeah,
totally. That's most of how I view the world in a lot of ways. For the last couple of years, anyway. It just leaned more and more into
that
some of the stuff, right? Yeah. And then, but I was fuck, man, I do miss the community. So, maybe I should, look at some of these little temples or gatherings or whatever. But I will say that, when you get there, I tried, but I'm it's just not my vibe. In that, that idea of people
just not there, authentically.
So that's what the different denominations did. Probably this is not my vibe. They're this is my vibe. So weird.
Yeah, and no judgment meant, but that's probably because there's these places stem from disagreement.
Yeah, all the time.
So I'm
it's what is it?
All these fuckers, look at all these people that are trying to figure it out.
It was the argument between the Catholic Church and the there was the.
Wish we had a theology major.
First off,
that'd be fucking sick.
He was the guy who wrote the thing on the door. Outcast from the Catholic Church, 1400s. He's one of the big I don't know if man, I might have learned way too much about this shit. So it was so there's the Church of England, that was, I think it was before, no, it might have been after, but there's this guy that like disagreed heavily with the Catholic Church, and there's this like underbelly of like, this is fucked, some of the shit that they were doing. So they were kind of manipulating, as all factions of religion does, manipulating the fucking like Bible to their advantage. And then so he had these like massive disagreements, and he posted on the church wall, and he gets like, he was one of the priests, and he gets like kicked out, and he starts his own fucking religion.
But the
Oh,
was that the split off from the Catholic Church that you're talking about?
that's like one, yeah,
That's
one of the first ones. You know,
Eastern Orthodox.
I think it's before them.
Okay.
Well,
Or the Protestant movement.
I'm gonna think about this. I also spend all time like just thinking about it. But the point being is that
I know what you're referring to.
the point being is that like the separations over time of us, like it's, dude, it's almost like a game of telephone, but then you broadcast it on like thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said one thing, which was like take Jesus saying one thing,
Right.
and then like these stories, or like take God in the beginning saying one thing, and these stories start to separate, and then this person. So like you think about Jesus, like okay, this is the 3 years that we knew Jesus, and these are the, how many people are surrounding him? 100,000 people at all times that are then fluctuating stories out, like penetrating like all of the entire sphere.
Yeah.
So then it's like this massive game of telephone, and then by the time it gets to Council of Nicaea, they kind of draw it in, and like some of the people have been writing stories and blah blah blah, and like okay, condensing it down. Okay, this is the general thing that we're going with, but then it still just like floods out to the universe that way, and then all these different like forks in the road happen, like the Catholic Church and the Protestant, and you know.
It's because I think it's because it's in the top. It's like it addresses like your belief system, and people. Maybe I don't know. People hold. I feel like so I'm trying to say a lot at once, but like the ego is so like Eckhart Tolle talks about this a lot.
Yeah.
So identified with a belief system, but like the reason is such a pungent thing that gets like even through the game of telephone, like, but then somebody gets their own perception of like how they latch onto the understanding of like truth, which they believe defines them.
Yeah.
And if it disagrees fundamentally slightly with somebody else, like that was a few people down the line,
Yeah.
this is what's gross about it. They're like not catching what the entire message was about in the first place. Or maybe they are, and I'm the asshole that just judges all of them. They're like, we'll work together. God has many ways of speaking to people, and we can have fundamentalists over here, and we can have the laying on of hands over here, and it's all God. And I'm like, man, I don't know. That seems kind of... I don't know. And I'm not just judging just church. I'm just talking about belief systems, like, personally. To get back to, like, I feel like it's important.
Yeah.
If I could say anything, like, I haven't stopped trying to understand what this is all about. Like, and I think that's a joyous experience.
I go through these waves of trying to and not trying to.
For me, it's about the earth. Like seasons of... Like, where you don't care as much, and then you...
Yeah. That's how I feel.
I didn't mean to tie that into the...
No, that's exactly how I felt.
But yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, sometimes I do slip into these, like, existential, like, thoughts quite in certain seasons, and then I'll notice myself, like, never think about it.
Being kind of like...
years. And then I'll, like, go back into it. Like, you know, all this, you know.
For me, it's, like, no longer... It's, like, something so vast and beautiful, like... Just going on a bike ride is enough, like, to just be like... But yeah, that's definitely where my head is at most of the time. It's like, what's going on? Sorry if I'm just yakking, but...
No, don't be sorry.
How the fuck is this happening?
You brought up a couple things. I have to tell you the story. Well, I'm going to tell somebody on air, or on the things, but... So, speaking of going on bike rides and enjoying it, I actually have to pee, and then I'm going to tell you the story.
Oh, perfect. That's great.
They're with them.
It's because everyone's fucking horny, dude.
I know.
And you just cut the shit, and it's not like you being disrespectful or anything, but I can
Anyway.
see it. Like, you know how life's like a field, like in the dating world or whatever. You can just like the older you get, and especially girls are
What if-
too. Like,
what if the
like,
whole
yo,
field-
No.
What if the whole dude? What if it was a field? This is actually really funny. What if dating was a field and there's all the different colors, and then like colors were like levels of like prude or not, or levels of like attraction or not. So like all purples are just like, look at, you're like, I see you, you know, like
Yeah.
and then all the yellows are just like, we'll just stay on here, you know.
No, I feel like that's the way it is, though. It's like an aroma. It's like a fragrance kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like,
Well, and most people that
people
like,
just give off who they are.
there's also like a lot of couples that find themselves that are not prudes and like the opposite. They're like, we like to get in our pajamas and watch Jeopardy. But yeah, you know,
Dude, totally.
it's like the people that like my sister that live in the trailer park, or not trailer park, but they live in like a simple double wide on a farm.
Yeah.
And like, I guess it's not a trailer, but yeah, double wide. You know, it's just like a long house. And then they just like go to school and like do a little job and they're like super happy, you know. And then there's their color of flower.
Yeah.
I'm not that color.
Me neither. No, definitely not.
Dude,
Well, that's great, though. That's a great opener. I like it.
so like,
Let's cut to the chase.
so like, I see you purple.
Dude, exactly. I'll just, like, that's what I'm trying to tell, like, some people, I mean, and it's easy, because right now I'm currently snagged up.
Yeah.
So it's always easier to see, right? Like, outside of it.
Yeah.
But the way that
Can
I
I-
got into
Can
this
I
button
coin? Can I coin the term snagged?
Yeah,
That's
totally.
dope. Can you imagine? You're just like walking into your girlfriend. They're like, oh, like is she your girl? Like, oh yeah, we snagged.
I'm snagged up.
You just like both laugh. You're like, we
This sounds
snagged that.
gnarly, actually. You put it that.
We snagged that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, you say what you want, and if they don't want it, they'll say, "You'll know."
Dude, that's the thing. Okay,
Honor your desires, right?
so okay, I think I did talk to my friend Sammy about this, but
I don't know.
she or I was talking about like there's levels of there's a person that grows in me as I get older that I say the more and more of what I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like pretty like I'm 100% on that board where I'm just like, okay, so if I go hit on somebody and they're not into it, I would hope they say no. And I'm just like, okay, or if I get the vibe, I'm like, oh yeah, this chick's not into it. So I'm like, cool, well I hit on her, you know, like that was my attempt. And then I hit on the next person, they're like into it, right? So that's how I gauge who's into it and who's not, is I have to go ask them, basically. And
Dude, totally.
so as you get older, the less you care about like the people that are like, I'm not into it, or like whatever you say, and like the more comfortable you get with like just being you. But then also
Yeah.
I wonder if that is like the path of then creepy old dudes. Because you don't know like when you're just like, well, I'm just gonna try. And then they like go try.
Fuck it, I'm old, I don't care.
Yeah, and then if she says no, they're gonna be he's gonna be like, doesn't matter. She said no. Like I've dealt with millions of no's my entire life. So I wonder if that happens, or like if that in their mind, or then they have to get used to like being rejected and never being received. And like, oh fuck, like you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I've thought about that so many times about like because I'm in a position like in my life where there's plenty of people that like find me attractive and plenty of people that don't. You know, like okay, if I'm attractive to 2% of the population, that's still a lot of people. You just find your people, right? It's like the flowers. You just like find your people in the fucking field, and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
it's not that hard.
That's what I think it is. You don't really have to go for it. Like, you can start to, you just know.
Yeah.
And you see those people in the field.
But what if, like, as you get older, you like less and less of your people, so you're still shooting for those people down there,
Uh-huh.
or like in a different color that you were not, and you're like,
Yeah, but you're still trapped.
yeah. So you're like, I'm up. Like these are only like my chances are limited, or like you're trying to go for those chances, but those chances are still not there.
Dude, I've talked to some older dudes before, and they'll just like, you know how
Tell
you
you.
grow and you're just like, you know how each year in your life you're like, you feel like a better version, hopefully. And I heard that men peak around 40, and at that point maybe that's the
Is that
midlife
what-
crisis, and you just kind of like start to question everything again. But
Is
like,
that what people that peaked at 40 tell you?
probably?
I've often wondered that because there's like certain people like, oh, dude, once I hit that age, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm listening to this fat guy like behind a grocery cart, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you chose to peak.
I don't know.
Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. It's
Me
on.
too. I like that one up.
Like, feel like a better version of yourself. You look back.
Oh yeah.
And where were we going?
Yeah, so it's like if you're an old guy and you're talking about like being a better version of yourself every day.
Oh, so yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is great, and I don't know if it's true. Maybe it's just part of their delusion that helps them not get laid, but like feel like they could.
Yeah.
But I've talked to quite a bit of old men that are like, it's way fucking easier than you think, and they're like, you just like my dad told me before he passed away, he was like, he goes, if only these young bucks, you young bucks knew how fucking easy it was to make a woman want you. And I believed him. Like there was such a truth, but I didn't know what that truth was.
Yeah.
Because I was a young buck.
Yeah.
But like as I'm growing, I think I'm starting to realize that like he saw the flowers in the field and he just knew. Like I said, I'm slacked right now, but if I
one said
when I
that
walk
to
into
me.
a fucking bar in a restaurant, I can immediately tell like what girl I could fuck.
Yeah.
And I even tell Murray about this all the time, which is
Yeah.
kind of fucked up. But you can sense,
No,
and
that's
that's a
good.
crass way to put it, but you can just feel the people that. And I don't know, and also maybe I'm just a pervert, but as I grow older, I feel like I just view the whole world as more of a sexual place.
Yeah. I mean,
It's just,
I 100% do.
that's what it is. Like,
Well, also, like, okay.
it's what everybody fucking does.
Yeah, and like if I'm only seeing strangers, like if I'm walking through people that I don't know, like my go, like I definitely see things more sexually, like just like ooh, I like her, ooh, that's nice. Like I'll see like
With like
I'll-
less shame behind it? Or,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But like what? That's a stranger. Like I don't feel bad about seeing a stranger more sexually. Like I don't know her. I don't know her family. I don't, like so. It's just like I don't have any problem seeing a stranger as like beautiful or not, or
Yeah.
because that's all I have.
It's
right.
exciting.
And then, or if you see somebody laughing, having a good time, you're like, oh, that looks like a happy person. That still registers in my mind.
Yeah.
And I could see a hot girl over here being like, and I'm just like, oh, your life's so hard, or whatever. Like, so you still see beauty and joy and like anger and despair, but like you still see mostly just like these physical glimpses, like when you're walking through crowds of people or like you like biking, etc. So I don't know. Yeah, I see it mostly sexually.
Dude, you just gave me a theory. Like, you said, like, sad people, and you see the happy person, like, oh, I'm attracted to that. Obviously, we know joy and smiling is attractive, but, like, it makes me wonder, like, this is why dudes that are, like, constantly single become residually single and residually upset.
Oh, 100%.
It's because, like, they actually start to form a belief about, like, girls being, like, mean or, like, awful to them or something when it's...
Yeah.
But then they exhibit or exude more of a frown by
Mhm.
nature. The loner vibe.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this on my own.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like,
No, it's a
smile a little bit, and then you'll probably.
dude. It's a perpetual cycle. Yeah, 100%. And then if you, have you heard the term incel?
Dude, I feel like you told me about this at a Breakfast of Champions a while back.
Yeah.
What
So it's like okay, so it's very.
incel?
It's like a common thing, but it's like it's sad, but I like understand it really well.
It's a funny thing, though, right? Kind of.
Oh no,
Like
it's
Or no? And I think
I think it's funny because I dealt with it for years.
whoa.
But it's called involuntary celibate.
Yes.
You know, like no matter
Yep.
what I do, I can't get laid. Like I have had many periods in my life, and even like every guy feels it. Like in a week or two.
Thank you for
It's-
shedding light on that so anyone listening doesn't feel offended.
No, dude. Well, I mean, hot girls might have less of a time resonating with incels because they're just like, yeah, if I turn it on, I can get like laid anytime I want. And I know almost every guy I know has been through multiple periods of this life where it's just like, fuck, dude. No matter what I did, I just like, yeah. And then like we'll come up with excuses like, yeah, I was just taking more time for myself.
Yeah, going inward.
You're like roommates, like, dude, you were out every night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that very strongly. Anyway, so it's like that never-ending cycle negatively of you can't get laid, you feel a little like unmotivated, you feel like down on yourself. The more you get rejected, the more like low you get.
It reaffirms your belief system.
And especially if you're shooting outside the box or whatever, but like you start maintaining an energy and a like lifestyle of somebody who is not worthy of rejection. Like basically you just become the person that you see yourself as. And it's very trippy because like almost like guys either experience that or like sometimes they just get that one thing that brings them out, and then you know like you finally get that win that you were looking for. But if you keep going, like the longer and longer you go with like having sex and like more into your head and more like they say incels are like you get more and more like you despise the opposite sex. Like why wouldn't you want me? Like why do you want that dude over there, not me? And you start getting like really angry.
And then it's like, well, why would she want the person that despised
Mm-hmm.
other people?
Right. So then she doesn't want you anymore. Right.
I think that I bet you if you looked at a scale, the incels would conglomerate into an area of people that don't do a lot of physical activity in any way, shape, or form. They might do like some stuff, like, but not like a pattern or something. Like, because I feel like anytime somebody does something, maybe I'm just projecting what I've experienced, but
Yeah.
if you do anything like good for yourself in those states of like when you're in your dry states, it reignites like that self vigor.
Oh,
where you're like,
100%.
I'm a fucking champion. I am. And then when you walk into the room, like I miss this feeling. Like when I was single, like I miss that feeling of walking into an environment feeling like a champion. Like
Yeah.
getting your good day on. For me, it was like I would want to get a good bike ride in, or break a sweat somehow, and then play some music, or maybe just do something creative. It's like I earn the time to go out, and then I'm so full, like radiating all this joy because my endorphins are high. Do what I love, and then you don't even have to try to get the fucking girl.
Yeah. Dude, so that's the thing.
It's wonderful.
Isn't that like probably one of the solutions of somebody like that? Is like, dude, just get out there and start going.
Get on your
start
fucking
moving.
feet.
And that, like it's not going to be an overnight, but that is like there might be a few people that like all they do is get out, but they still have like angry beliefs that they might not. Like the more angry you are, and the more sad about life you are, the less attractive you are. Like that happens all the time. So like you got to fix those things too.
It's like a thing.
To be less sad about life, you need to go out and get active and just get your blood moving. It makes you less sad about life in a heartbeat. Getting outside and like moving around and like, I'm doing something, right?
Yeah.
So you become less sad about life, and then over those like.
It's like the law of attraction starts to work for you.
Yeah.
You
and then it makes it easier to be less angry, and then. But yeah, like I don't think a lot of people can grab that, but that's literally the difference of being somebody who doesn't like. Even if you are not the best looking person, if you're a person that is enjoying life, there's zero chance that there's not a few people in your 1,000 people circle that are into you. Like,
you look in the room, and you can see the person that radiates life energy,
right?
Authentic.
Yeah.
and you can see the person looking for life energy.
Yeah.
This is a fun one too. Like I pretty much feel like that's really what it kind of boils down to, because we're all like batteries in a field, or aromas. Like, but there's either people trying to suck energy, or there's people that can give energy, like because it's endless. Like we create energy by expending energy as individuals.
Yeah.
Like go work out, go play tennis, do some mountain climbing, or like ride your bike for 20 miles, and, or dig a few holes. And then somehow, even though you're tired physically, your soul and your mind are like rejuvenated, and there's this energy that you get, self-worth, and then people feel that, and it's like, then you just have to watch out for the sponges.
Dude, well, so that's what you're saying earlier. It's like, we were talking about how getting rid of people that are like energy sucks. And like that person that makes everyone uncomfortable, or that person that constantly makes people feel attacked, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were talking about that and like how to deal with that. But the longer like I've been alive, I'm just like, dude, I don't have time for energy sucks. And so like I will do better in life if I only surround myself with people that are like generally happy, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone has a bad day, but you know, like the generally positive people, and you feel that as you like know your people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the same thing like with finding girls as finding friends. Like you see your people, or like you can tell like that dude's a homie, or that dude's like not my vibe. You know.
Yeah.
Like girls and guys, like all of these people, like at least that's how I'm starting to see it. I just don't have time for like people that are negative all the time. Which is why when I look at any of my friends are all like mostly if not all positive. I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy friends. That's the one thing I can like really feel good about.
Because if you hang out around it, it'll pull you down.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever thought about? I just imagined it like chords, like or notes, 440 hertz or whatever it is. Like, I wonder if they have like the power to like wiggle other things into their flux.
Like dark matter.
So you say like you are what you eat, or like you are the friends that you're around.
Yeah.
And so if it's outside of like picking up on their habits, or like just hearing negativity, and then it comes out of you like on like a cellular level, or on like a vibration level, or a frequency level.
Yeah.
And it's actually probably true, because we're like mostly water, that they're resonating state. It's like watching metronomes eventually sync up. Have you ever seen that happen?
No.
Dude,
that does happen though, doesn't it?
You can put like 100 metronomes out and start them randomly, and within a couple minutes they're
oh my god.
It's so weird.
I've never seen that, but I believe that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's like the vibrations cause it to sync up. Which makes me think like a colliding energy or whatever, if you're around it enough, it's gonna like suck you into its flux.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like, shit, now I'm like thinking this way.
Yeah.
Weird.
So that's like exactly why you shouldn't hang out with negative people.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's like the
But on a deeper level,
have you
transmute their negativity somehow, just by like letting it not resonate with anything?
Yeah, just like you can learn that thing first.
Go.
When did you first see the metronome thing?
On YouTube a few years ago.
But, like,
I just watched it recently again.
Was it like? So that's like that's the whole point of you don't surround yourself with somebody negative. Like it's like a visual representation of the way that frequencies.
People start doing the same stuff.
Fuck, dude.
The same things.
That's
congregations, denominations.
Oh my god.
Just that people will find their fragrance. Like that seems to be the essence of this conversation.
Yeah.
It's like somehow everything goes back to like.
I did make you snort that stuff that made you pass out.
When was that? Oh, Kung Pao?
Dude, what if it comes in sortable form?
I like that. It's even edgier.
You don't have to like shoot it out. You can
have like a different applications.
It's like a little nose squirter. What do they call that? Dude, I just learned. Okay.
Oh, I see. Like nasal spray.
Nasal spray. He just gave her a little nasal spray right as she's about to come. And then she
It's not
starts
as messy.
sneezing.
Yeah.
What's gonna be messy on you, dude? The amount of like snot that's gonna hit your chest when she sneezes.
You can just snap one of those little things that wakes people up. Does that make you
Oh
sneeze?
yeah. Do smelling salts actually. I actually don't know. I've never done smelling
Those
salts.
hurt. Those are like, it's like a punch to your soul and your brain at the same time. Like when it goes, you're like,
Oh,
Just
okay.
fucking.
Speaking of punch to your souls, have you ever done salvia?
No, my cousin did and told me about it and scared me.
Uh,
No, Salvia diminivores.
have you ever
I
done
read about it a lot. No, I had the opportunity to a couple weeks ago, and I just didn't feel comfortable. I was like, no, today's not my day.
Was it like a guy on the street, or was it like?
It was a friend with a pen, but I just didn't feel like having an experience or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like in the moment.
I can imagine that. Oh, yeah. I have had an experience recently, but I like planned it.
Nice.
We're like on Sunday we're gonna do that. You know, like it was just like very intentional. But I was in this cabin I would say about a month ago, and we were sharing it with like 6 people, and we had taken some mushrooms and went like on a hike in the forest, and then we come back and we walk in and there's like super tiny. It's like the kitchen table here, or sorry, refrigerator here and kitchen table here, and there's like a tiny walkthrough. So if anyone sits here, you can't really get around them. Like one of those tiny cabins, right?
Yeah.
And so we come in and they're like, oh shit, we're like blasting off on DMT, and they have like their bong rig and everything, like in the cabin. We're like, oh, okay, so we'll grab our shit and like get out, because they're like doing their shit, and they just kept going. So we're in our little room, like grabbing like a coat and stuff, and he's just like, okay, so you might feel like you don't know how to breathe, so just make sure to breathe. And yeah, here you go, smoke. And he was like blasting off, and I was like, do you want us to get out first before you so I got like just felt really weird. And so I'm like, oh, let me just keep going. And the guy's like smoking in DMT and like starting to like trip. And I'm like still trying to get around him. So I'm like,
Oh, wow.
and feel like I'm like grazing my ball. I'm probably not grazing my balls over his face, but that's how it felt. I was just like, let me just get by you, sir. And I'm like
Yeah.
grazing my balls by his face while he's just like going, like blasting off on DMT. And I was like, I don't know that this is the perfect experience for this, but I feel bad for you, young man.
Sounds like he's used to doing it often. If he's
No, that was this kid's first, or somebody's first time, because they were like they were telling somebody like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is
that's right. Yeah, remember to breathe.
And I was like, dude, I don't think this is the right setting. Like, or at least let us like leave. I don't know. I've never had anyone say remember to breathe before diving into the rabbit hole on any drugs like that.
The first time that I tried mushrooms, the girl that was guiding me like passed out.
Oh yeah, you told me about
She like within like the second they, because we took quite a bit,
Yeah,
to the point where like everything like and like kind of changed and like
that was your
like,
first time.
memory
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And she just, her eyes rolled in the back of her head and she passed out and started like convulsing.
Oh my god.
And yeah, like picked her up. Like, it was weird because I don't know what came over me, but I felt like Gandalf or something. Like I was seeing things differently, so I was like, I was convinced that it was like a calling out to her, like in her energy voice or something. Yeah. Like she was someplace, but she had fallen like back. Is the way I saw it. Like
Yeah.
So I was like, come back. I was like, come back. Like, but it felt like real. Like I was like looking in a location. I don't know. It's like, and she was like,
so she's
yeah. But it was like, I don't know if it was just. Anybody watching, people have to try mushrooms to realize why it's so profound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're just going to judge it and be like, oh, your brain is bleeding. You're being an idiot.
Oh.
But
yeah, that's the thing.
Spiritual things that happen,
Yeah.
and like the way that you view the world changes just a little bit.
You heard me, didn't you? And she was like,
But I knew that what she meant when she said she heard me was like, she didn't hear me. Like,
She heard, yeah,
she heard me.
yeah.
Like,
calling through the universe.
yeah, literally. She could have been in Andromeda at that point. Like, her, I don't know. She disappeared.
Right.
I watched her disappear, and then her body just like fell down. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. And then you call her back. Dude, I felt that so many. Oh my god.
So weird.
Yeah. That would be a very intense like first trip. I can't imagine dealing with somebody actually passing out on the first trip. Like that's really hard to handle. Like if I'm showing somebody else a good time on the first trip, I'm hoping
that you don't
like,
pass out.
Yeah.
She felt so embarrassed.
Yeah, that's the first thing that I don't want to have happen is like I don't want you to think that I'm dead. Like
that's
like guiding somebody else through mushrooms 101.
Yeah. Rule number 1.
Don't die
let the substance crush you. Yeah.
While you're showing someone.
The guide rule number 1. Don't fucking pass out. Well, that's the thing. Is she felt really embarrassed. I felt she's like, I'm sorry that happens sometimes when I'm just start tripping.
Can you imagine if you like pay like $4,000 to go to like an ayahuasca ceremony in Costa Rica, and the shaman's like, oh, and then he just falls over and passes out, and everyone's just like, okay, come on, man.
Yeah, you had one job. You didn't know how to do
stay above consciousness.
Yeah, you're the DD, essentially. Don't fucking pass out. Oh, that's great, dude. Yeah, because we were the ones carrying her into the shower, tripping. Like
that's wild.
Just happens.
I mean, I will say that I'm taking mushrooms 100 to 200 times. I remember the first like 75 or whatever. Like I've shown some people like their first times, right? Like taking them a bunch. I'm like feel like I'm a good navigator at times. I'm like, okay, I know the roadmap. And then like I would say about 100 trips in like that I've been in, some of my solo journeys like fucked me up so hard that I was just like, I can't believe I'm just like willy-nilly giving this shit to people. Like I'm like, have some fun. I've had some like I thought I was experienced, and then I just get fucking like just destroyed by like whatever the fuck happens.
That's like I took a few a while back.
Yeah.
This was about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I chopped them up in orange juice.
Yeah.
Might have been some that I acquired. Who knows? Anyways, I had that exact thought, and I don't know, like, it fucked me up so strong, and I was like, wow, it gave me this respect for it,
yeah.
like, this thing.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, I kind of want to start, like, is this cult leaderish of me to want to start, like, slipping it into people's diets?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay, sweet, I'll start doing that.
So, there's this thing that I think about. I just thought about it. Maybe it's the mushrooms. There's this thing that happens to me when I'm on mushrooms. It might be the mushrooms that I'm even able to tell it. But so, what you just said was, you're like, is this cult leader of me to do this thing? So then I was like, oh yeah, kind of, but that'd be dope. And then I was just like, if I were slipping something in, like, what if it's like going back to the origin of that battery. Like, if you programmed all the beings to think about their history, right?
Yeah.
And everything that you found was programmed, right? And so that's one of the things that trips me out about mushrooms is that I'll see myself, and then all of a sudden I'll see myself like here, or like I'll think, if you said that thing, if I was really tripping hard, I'd be like, oh, but like, what if I'm already in Joe's cult, and this is just the things that he says, like, and and then I'll be like, I'll reverse engineer like some sort of thing. I'm like, what if the thing that he said is what I wanted? Like, he wanted me to hear because I'm already in the cult. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, fuck.
So like those sort of things would happen, and then even in my own like walks in these like mushroom trips. So it's very like God, like so there's these certain times like when you take mushrooms, I'm like, oh yeah, I got it all figured out. And then I'll like take some mushrooms and I'll be like, oh fuck, that fucked me up.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Plunges you out and you're like, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah. I mean, speaking to your point, like you like this little thing has like you just as a person thrown just for a loop. This tiny little thing.
But it's not like it's like a deep thing.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing about it is it's like, I'm sure anybody that has ever tried psilocybin.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, psilocybin.
Dude, you know it's like, there's something beyond it just being like fun or something. There's like, it's like
Oh yeah.
a coach. Dude, it's like a fairy plant or something. I don't know.
I mean, the more I like, I've been taking mushrooms. Like, I've seen a lot of like shit, which is nice because it like changed your perspective in the world. I remember like just like, when you see like you have like a day where you're just like watching the clouds move, and it's just like beautiful. You're just like watching all this shit, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're every time that I'm ever driving or sober or anything, just like going to work, I'm like, there's the clouds, and I never would have really noticed clouds that much. Until like I first started psychedelics, and just like, oh yeah, clouds are dope.
Dude, clouds are sick. Wind is weird.
Yeah,
Movement.
dude. The last time that I took mushrooms, I had just so I took DMT the night before. So I haven't told the story. So like DMT is nuts. Like, it's the chemical that you like release when you die, right?
Yeah.
So, they say maybe like during dreams, etc. But so it just it's. I mean, I've taken mushrooms and LSD before, and it's just so much faster, crazier, etc. And I did it once before, and I felt very magical. And like when I came out the other side, it's like 15 minutes, and I felt very at peace. And I was just like, I feel really like good about the world, but like nothing crazy happened. But this time, I like there's the mother. It's I don't know if it's the same as ayahuasca, but it's like the goddess. And I'd seen her once before, and when I like smoked it, you lay back, and it's just like the whole world just like opens up into this crazy thing. And even me saying this is like
I feel like I can see it, feel it.
these are only like my like feelings of the memory because like it's like a dream kind of like there's way more details, but you only remember like a few. Sometimes that's how I felt about like that experience. It was like there's all this stuff, and then all of it started to fade, and I only remember like a couple things. But like everything like it basically feels like you're going to another dimension. But it's crazy because like the universal her or whatever like that comes with that, the mother just floods like right in front of you. You're like, oh my god, like, and it feels like you just stepped into the presence of God. You just like everything opens up, and you're just like, oh my fucking god. And then just like
Wow.
she's like hi, and then there was like this smile, and then I like when it settled in, I just like saw like there's all this like magic, and just like it felt like everything.
Wow.
And then you come out of it from the other side, and then it like slips back into almost like a mushroom feel, where like things are a little 4D, and then it like condenses really quickly. Yeah, it's fucking nuts. And
Wow.
and then I also felt very at peace with like same stuff, but it was just like seeing like this intense
I wonder if that's Sophia.
Sophia.
So like in this book called The Apocryphon of John, Like it breaks down like the subtext of like the existence of God
Yeah.
to begin with. So like, which is kind of interesting because this stuff goes with like some mythological stuff about like the reptilians. It starts to stack, and you're like, maybe this is all actually really how it happened. But
Yeah.
um, essentially, if I have this right, the essence of like all existence was from the mother goddess Sophia, and she fell into a dream.
Yeah.
Everything that we know, including the gods, the powers, and everything. It was all just a dream of the origin. So it's just when you talk about seeing this, she was like feminine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's just
Well, yeah. That's
like if you ever see her again, will you ask her her name?
Yeah.
That'd be cool if you could. If you
But
could,
will I remember?
You know, yeah. But
Well, I
maybe
hope
you
it's
will.
here.
Who knows?
Like, it's just wild. I have heard. Well, okay, so I have heard the people that take ayahuasca, they call her Mother Iowa or Aya or Iowa, but it's just like the mother. But
Really?
but this is what I actually did think coming out of it, because I've heard of other entities that, like, it seems like with certain paths from the human existence into like, God, I sound super spiritual right now.
No, it's fine.
From when you're taking a certain avenue, whether it's like ayahuasca or peyote or like
See what you mean?
psilocybin,
Yeah,
like they're different journeys into like
different spirit realm.
yeah, and I think that I feel like a hippie right now because it's just like, yeah, but anyway, maybe it is.
No wonder when they're, like,
maybe they have it right.
60, they're like explaining it.
Yeah.
They probably do.
But so I have heard that there's like a psychedelic that comes off the trees in like Finland, like the Christmas tree, and would make people trip. So that's like they say it's part of the whole story of Santa Claus was because when people were tripping on fucking psychedelics of these Christmas trees, and they were like seeing flying
God would
reindeer.
come through their house.
Yeah, they were seeing like flying reindeer and shit. And, like they like made up these stories based on some of the shit that they saw on these psychedelics of the Christmas tree.
I didn't
But
realize.
do you know the Krampus? The story of the Krampus?
No, but I'm scared.
Okay, so there's this.
Why
Like,
am I
this
so nervous right now?
there's
It's like,
I haven't seen it, but there's a folklore of like it's like anti-Santa. It's called the Krampus or something.
Yeah.
They made a movie about it recently. It's like a horror flick, or I don't know, it may be funny, but it's like there's like the negative spirits of Santa Claus, and they I've heard like I don't know if it's podcasts or blogs, but I've heard somebody talk about how they've tripped on that psychedelic that comes from these trees. It's like
And that's the Krampus?
yeah, that is the energy. Like that's the
No.
yeah. And
Fuck.
so
Oh
that
my god, damn it.
yeah. So like
Fuck.
and then then I'm like, okay, so each sort of psychedelic has their own sort of being, and like that is like the
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to take that as hallucinogen.
No, when I
I thought about
second
that
time I
actually
ever
with
tripped, I saw these like beings.
yeah,
They were real
which
in my mind.
but that's the question is how do you know it's in your mind or not? Like especially one of the things that is like happens with people that take a lot of psychedelics is they see the same art forms, you know. And so I forget I was asking, but they're like, do they see it because other people saw it, or do they all see it separately? But I think there's a lot of things that people universally see, and that's what trips. Like that's what the argument was. Like you actually are opening up a third door into another dimension.
No, I
Because
that's the way I
people are
believe.
seeing the
That
same
is
things.
100% how I believe about it.
Uh,
Like the mind is a mechanism, a biological mechanism to perceive multi-dimensional universes, and we know that we can perceive vibrations. That's what hearing is, and
Yeah.
sight. Like we are perception beings, so like
yeah.
different drugs unlock different levels of like what I don't know if it goes to different worlds per se. I've never really imagined like Christmas Land or like Krampus being the monster. Or Krampus or whatever. But it's
That's
weird.
because you didn't take that one.
Yeah, now I want to see, but I don't want to meet Krampus, dude. That's scary.
Me neither.
He has like the little horns.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've never
It's
done
not
it.
that shit. I have to get going here pretty soon.
Yeah,
I think.
dude. Let's call it. Joe, thank you for doing this. I love you.
Dude, I love you, man. That was great. Thank you.
Do you want to plug anything? Oh, this is Joseph Lyle. His music is at...
Yeah, it's Joseph's Music.
Oh, perfect.
Thanks for
The
that.
first time I've
Is
really
it about
wanted
my
to
cat?
thank you.
What?
I realized that everyone else that I've had on my podcast so far, like, no one needs, like, a plug. Or, like, no one's, like, doing things on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, no one else was social that I, like, knew.
I don't even need a plug. We could. Don't know.
Oh. Okay, don't go there.
Don't.
Don't go there. Dude, I'm gonna have to figure out my exit strategy. Normally, I'm just like, all right, we're done.
Nobodies.